to change that, to raise the standard and the burden of proof for somebody to seek asylum, and Republicans blocked that bill.
So you'd agree that was a bipartisan.
Yes,
they voted. So Elizabeth Warren voted against that, right? So
there were some Democrats that voted against it, but that's the nature of Congress and the nature of political parties. There are people who have, more moderate views on certain topics, more liberal and more progressive views. So it's not unsurprising that Democrats would vote, or some Democrats would vote against a bipartisan bill, which was partially written by Republicans and included a lot of conservative viewpoints in the bill. That's kind of the nature of bipartisan bills, right? So that the people on the farther ends of the spectrums of both sides aren't necessarily in favor of that.
So even if they had a majority of Republicans, it still wouldn't have passed, is my point.
What was that?
Even if they had Republicans that would support it, like a majority of them, it wouldn't pass because you had 8 or 9 Democrats that voted no. They weren't even vote
if you had a majority of Republicans, you definitely would have passed. What are you talking about?
So the only person that actually, co-signed it or was Langford.
Yeah, one of the most conservative senators in Congress. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was endorsed by Donald Trump.
Yeah, but it's the debate. He's the most conservative one? I don't think so.
He's one of the most conservative. He's from Oklahoma.
Yeah, I know. Every county went red. But another point with that bill that you cited, was that that was this year, right?
2020, late 2023 / early 2024.
Yeah, 24. Okay, yeah. So it basically capped. So this is what I don't understand. So if the border got out of control, it capped it at 5,000 a day. Why would they even let one person in? And I don't get that. It should be 0.
So it's not a cap on people coming into the country. It's a cap on encounters. So people just being encountered at the border. So do you know what the cap is right now on encounters at the border?
Yeah, there is no one.
Yeah, exactly. There is none.
There shouldn't be one. It should be 0.
So so the border's just shut down altogether. Like we don't even take in people who are seeking asylum.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we need to happen. Exactly.
That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
No, it's not dumb.
Yes, it is.
There's a huge issue. We have over 300,000 kids that have gone missing. Probably in, I don't know what the TikTok algorithm, what I can say. You know what I'm talking about. They're in slavery.
That's just not inherently true. I don't know where. Where'd you getting this 300,000 number from? Also, there were tens of thousands of kids who were quote unquote lost under the Trump administration, but they're not actually like lost. They didn't just like disappear into thin air, and it's not necessarily the case that they're like involved in some illegal scheme. These folks just couldn't be reached out to. Either them or their sponsor or both couldn't be reached by the federal government. So it doesn't mean that they're in some trade. It just means that they couldn't be reached.
I'm not saying all of them are.
Okay, and I'm just saying that means they couldn't be reached. There's no administration that's going to stop bad things from happening. Like all bad things from happening, it's just eliminated. I guarantee that this what you're describing of kids being lost will continue to happen under the Trump administration, as it has for many different administrations. So not every administration can just end that entirely. But if this is something you were concerned with, you should be voting for Republicans who wanted to support the bipartisan border bill, or you should be voting for Democrats who are saying, yeah, let's get something done on immigration, like Kamala Harris was.
So I agree that it's going to happen regardless if it's a Republican or Democrat, in office. But if you compare Trump's 4 years, there would be a lot less problems with the border.
Okay, but why?
Why? Because they had stricter immigration policies, such as remain in Mexico. Remain in
Mexico only affected 70,000 people. It wasn't even used by the end of Trump's administration. And also, do you know when Remain in Mexico was signed in?
It was 22. It was right around COVID.
Yeah, 2019.
2019. Okay.
So if you're saying Remain in Mexico like shut down the border, then was the border open prior to Remain in Mexico for the first 2 years of Trump's administration?
No, it wasn't open. But it literally, when Joe Biden came in office, he signed 92 executive orders that loosened control of the border. Where you got? Can
you name like 5 of them? Because I always hear this like, he signed 92. I've heard like he signed 70, he signed 60. Now the number is 92. So can you name me like 5 executive orders that Biden signed that like made the border weak?
You mean the first ones he came in office?
Yeah, you said 92 executive orders on immigration.
That's what was reported. He signed 92 within the first week.
On immigration?
No, not on. I'm saying total. He signed within the
Okay, then I
first
don't know how that
month in
pertains
office.
to this immigration conversation. But can you name me like
So,
some immigration executive orders he signed that weaken the border?
do I have them in front of me? No. I mean, I can look at my notes, but
Well,
I just know he's
that's the
not.
thing. They don't exist. That's the thing. Republicans always say, "Oh, Biden signed these executive orders to weaken the border," and it hurt. And it's like, okay, but what are they? He actually didn't. Like the president themselves doesn't have that much authority when it comes to the border, right? They can't just be like, "Oh, I'm going to sign an executive order and this shuts down the border," or "I'm not, and the border is going to be open." That's not how the federal government works. It shouldn't be how the federal government works as well.
So, what do you when Trump President-elect Trump's coming in office? He has I don't know, I forget the number. He has like let's say he had 50 executive orders. It's going to basically X what Biden did when he signed. So what do you think that he is talking about when he takes office? They're going to go back to what it was under his first term. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his executive orders are going to look like on day one. We'll have to find out what they are. But I imagine a lot of them are going to be really bad. Maybe probably all of them are going to be really bad. But I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see what he's going to sign in on day one.
Well, I mean, okay. So there's one that he did. So Biden did sign. It was the Executive Order 13986, which kind of reinstated the DACA protections.
Yep.
As one.
That's good.
Okay. And then another one was this is what I was kind of trying to talk about. I didn't have it in front of me. It deferred deportations. It paused for up to 100, over 100, I think it's 180 days.
100.
100. Okay, 100. So he deferred, deportations. I mean, basically, you just have a.
And that was eventually overturned by a judge, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm reading right here.
That actually was not in place. But it was good. It was good policy from the get-go because COVID was complicating things. So having that pause would have, I think, been not a terrible thing. And I'm not necessarily a fan of like Trump's. Oh, I'm going to deport a bunch of undocumented migrants. That makes absolutely no sense. Like none of his policies make any sense at all. Whether it's border, whether it's the economy, no matter what it is, it's nonsensical. And so his whole thing of like, yeah, let's deport 11 million undocumented immigrants, which, make up like 5% of America's workforce and just have a bunch of jobs empty for a significant period of time and reduce our GDP and reduce the amount of taxes we're taking in. It's like, why would we do that?
Well, because undocumented migrants, so they do have their I-10 to pay for taxes and everything. So I think that they contribute about roughly $94 billion a year. However, they cost the taxpayers over $150 billion. So
what?
I don't know.
That's not true.
Yeah, because they do take. Okay, what about their kids going to the hospital or going to school? I mean, that costs money. That's not free.
Yeah. No, I know, no doubt it's not free, but they actually pay more into social programs than they take in any of this stuff.
No, they don't. Then why?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. 100%. Yes, they do.
Why is it such a big issue then? And here's what I think: the Democrats, they're seen more weak on border protection or border, immigration and overall, and people don't like to say the reason why is, and I think it's going to blow up in their faces because the reason this started back in the 90s, 2000s. They wanted to bring all these undocumented people in so they can add to their voter rolls. And as we saw last election, yeah.
Really? Is that why Joe Biden removed a higher percentage of people at the border than Donald Trump did? Is that why we still have deportations in the hundreds of thousands? Is that why Obama is known as the deporter in chief to many people?
Yeah. How many people came through? Not many people came through.
But wait. But if the plan is for Joe Biden and Democrats to get all these people in the country to vote, then why wouldn't the numbers be significantly less? Why wouldn't Joe Biden just be letting everybody in instead of removing a majority of people?
It wouldn't obviously it wouldn't look good, but you can't just let everyone in. Like, sure, he's had more deportations.
Wait, he's the president, if that's the goal, why? If your entire goal, which you said it's been in place since the 90s and early 2000s, if that's the goal, why would Obama deport so many people, and why did Biden remove a majority of people who come to the border?
Because they've weakened the immigration laws. So the question is you should ask is why weren't these same problems happening under Trump's administration?
These problems were happening under Trump's administration.
At a
Even Donald Trump himself in 2018 was calling on Congress to pass an immigration bill to reform the system because he, even in his very small brain, can recognize the fact that the immigration system is broken and has been for quite some time, and it needs reform.
I know, I agree on that, but
Okay.
I don't think I don't think the bill, what is it? What do you call it? Just call it the bipartisan bill.
Bipartisan border bill, correct?
But yeah. So HR2 would have solved that. It didn't have the issues as the border bill, the bipartisan.
Yes, it did. It had absolute non-starters for Democrats, including like entirely funding the border wall, which would be a complete waste of money because the border wall wouldn't solve anything.
It would solve some of the trafficking.
No,
It wouldn't solve the drugs.
No, it wouldn't, because the majority of people who are convicted of bringing drugs into the country are native-born Americans. Like with the F drug that I can't say on TikTok, over 90% of people convicted for it are native-born Americans. So it's clearly not undocumented migrants that are the problem there. And a majority of these drugs are brought in through ports of entry, legal ports of entry. So you can build a big wall with turrets on top and spikes and alligators and a moat below. But it won't change the fact that, Americans, native-born Americans, are utilizing ports of entry to bring in illicit substances for their benefit.
Yeah, as long as there's a want or a need for it, it's going to come in regardless. But I'm not talking about the drugs. I'm talking about like actual people.
Well, you said drugs.
No, I said drugs. It's not going to affect drugs.
So the border wall won't affect drugs.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, I'm glad we agree. But also, I don't know how the border wall would impact trafficking because. We still have shovels. People dig under the wall that's already there, right? Well, you just got flagged for civic and election integrity, so you got to go. Goodbye. He got flagged by TikTok. Can't do anything about that one. Yo, Cameron, thank you for the $1. Good job for being educated and having good taste. Yo, Cameron, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That's incredibly kind. And thank you for being educated. Thank you for being educated. Zariah, thank you for the $1. Harry, I think my sister is MAGA because she is MAGA in love with you. I can hear her listening to you now, so shout out to her. Sorry if this was a bad pickup line. That I just didn't expect that to be the case. I didn't expect that work in there. So that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Joe, thank you for the $5. Add me on what? You didn't include it, but I appreciate the $5. If you are MAGA, let me know. I'll bring you up and we can talk and you can tell me why you're MAGA. Makes absolutely no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. So how about you come up and tell me why you're MAGA? No. You people in particular. Look at these terrible people right here. Just do that. Look at these terrible people. Hold on. All right, let's give Josh an invite. If you want to come up, Josh, you're welcome to. Hold on. And this terrible person right here. Can we get a mute on this terrible person? Can Biden put 5 justices in before he leaves? No, there's no vacancies on the Supreme Court. Oh, look at Kristen screaming Laken Riley. I feel like we should give her an invite to talk about that. Oh, somebody's coming up. One of them's coming up. Oh, Josh, that other individual probably not coming up. Hello, why'd you vote for Donald Trump, my man?
Because he's the best choice for our country.
Okay,
and Kamala Harris doesn't know nothing. She doesn't know nothing. She didn't do interviews. She just has no clue what's going on.
Did you what Harry, state you vote in?
Harry, I think you need to get a new job, man. You have no clue what you're saying.
What state you
are one of those liberals that believe everything. Hold on. You are just terrible.
Yeah, zip it, buddy. Hey, do me a favor and zip it. What state did you vote
in?
What state did you vote in? Montana?
Montana. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. You sound Irish to me, buddy.
So, I'm not Irish.
Sounds Irish.
I'm 100% an American.
Oh, bruh. The live just got goddamn restricted because the guy was talking about drugs before, which means I have to restart. Oh. All right. Sorry. I have to restart. Get out of the live. All right, everybody. I have to. Bro, what the hell? I got 2 restrictions back to back. All right, everybody. I have to restart the live. So I'll be back in just a second. We'll be back. We're just going to restart right now. All right. What the hell, man? Back-to-back restrictions. Good to see you. Megan, good to see you. Thanks, guys, for coming back into the live. I appreciate it. Make sure to double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 100,000 likes super quickly. You know the drill by now. Venmo, Cash App in the link in my bio if you want to support the live. Drop a follow if you have. What's up, Law of the Wild? Good to see you. Also, spam those shares down there. Drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time. And of course, if you are MAGA, we'll get right back into the thick of things. So just let me know if you're MAGA in the chat. We'll bring you up here. You can tell me why on earth, how it's possible that you voted for Donald Trump. It just doesn't make much sense, as I continue to say. But this guy says he's MAGA, so let's give him a shot. He's one of the first comments I've seen.
Hey.
So we'll give him a shot. Hello, bro.
Hey, what's going on?
You voted for Trump?
I did.
What a damn shame. Do you have any regret yet, or no? You still?
I just want to. I want to start off by saying I do have a lot of respect for you. I do have a lot of respect for Dean and Parker. You guys have done a lot for yourselves and the network of TikTok and the people that follow you.
Thank you.
And your passion.
I appreciate that.
However, when it comes to the reason why I vote, obviously it has a lot to do with the philosophy of voting. And coming from Pennsylvania, it was a lot came down to family issues. Obviously, I live in a rural area where the Amish also live. So goods and services, very expensive. They were also tanked by it tremendously. Just by the policies that were in place already. I don't know exactly what they are, but that another thing that Trump addressed when he was in office the first term was sorry.
You're good.
Stage fright.
Oh, you're good.
Whew. He put what the hell, sanctions on Iran and China for causing them to, not exactly be able to create what we're seeing today with the age groups.
Yeah, I don't really think that's the case. Like what Trump did, Trump was like generally weak on China, and when he tried to be strong on China, it backfired on us. And he tried to be strong on China with the trade war and just raise tariffs on them. Then China put tariffs on us. That hurt a lot of farmers, specifically soybean farmers. A lot of these folks sell their goods to Asian countries, specifically the Pacific Rim countries, and cutting off that trade route was really damaging for a lot of them. So damaging that the Trump administration actually had to pass a bailout for farmers. And that was even bad because most of that money went to the wealthy farms, and these kind of family-owned people didn't really see much of it. And then he pulled out of the TPP, which was all kind of part of his trade war. And that pushed China to then sign a new agreement with, I believe it was 14 other Asian countries for a new trade agreement. So we're just pushing these countries closer to China, further away from the United States. And I don't think that's good foreign policy. Now, he did put a lot of sanctions on Iran. They did have some money shortfall as a result. But a lot of these sanctions were deemed illegal by the International Criminal Court because some of them were targeting things like medicine. So it was hindering medicine from getting into the country, for people who just needed it. Like the people who are struggling and need their medicine are not funding H group, right? These are just folks who got caught up in the crossfire and all of it. So that wasn't great. And I don't mind being strong on Iran, but we can't do stuff like that. We can't like starve people, right? And also, Iran was not really all that scared of Donald Trump. They attacked the United States under Donald Trump. They launched drone strikes toward Americans. 109 U.S. soldiers got traumatic brain injuries. That doesn't happen under somebody who Iran's just like very fearful of, right?
No, but I think it's something that still needs to be addressed under any leadership.
Sure, but I don't know why Trump would be the guy that's going to do that. Virginia, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you.
Well, I think it really came down to like when you see the catastrophic thing that happened in October a couple years ago. It was obviously caused by the H group that is funded by Iran. And I think that's a big statement of, you know, what he's done as a politician, quote unquote. And I mean, I'm not against something like that totally, because they were, you know, Israel overall was safe
under Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly, you didn't see the attacks that we're seeing today and constantly in the news.
Yeah, I don't know if it's fair to say that they were more safe under Trump than they were Biden. Like, just because an attack happens doesn't mean that their security was worse, right? Because like an attack could have happened under Donald Trump, but you would probably still say that they're safe because they have a lot of the weapons that they need and the ability to defend themselves, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Maybe it's just something that's like everyone sees. Like most of the Americans that watch news every day, that we see these things and try to recognize why these things are happening. So that's kind of why I question these things, and that's why I do ask questions with other people that I communicate with on a daily basis on what their opinions are. And I think that's why the philosophy of who people vote for are based off of the relationships that we have with other people and friendships. Just like you communicating with everyone on TikTok and supporting who you support, which, you know, I validate you for doing that, and I commend you for what you've done. But at the same time, other people with the philosophies of, let's say, energy, for instance, Pennsylvania is one of the most independent states when it comes to energy source, you know, windmill, and solar, anything, nuclear, anything. So I think he has a lot to implement in Pennsylvania, because most of the land also that we drill in today is private land and not federal. So I think he wants to drill even more than what Biden is doing, which is still a good thing, right? It's still a good thing to drill as much as Biden is. But I think he's going to try to tap into more federal land that is not being used.
So, but what about Trump and his, his promise to roll back renewable energy? So you're talking about solar, you're talking about wind. But Trump has no interest in expanding these things. He's actually talked about wanting to get rid of the Inflation Reduction Act, which was President Biden's policy. The largest investment, or at least part of it, was the largest investment in fighting climate change, not only in American history, but in world history. Trump has talked about overturning this.
Though? Wasn't that also bipartisan?
No, the Inflation Reduction Act, I don't believe, was bipartisan.
Oh, I think you're right. I think Kamala had to pass that through the Senate.
Yeah, I think she was a tie-breaking vote on it. But like, what about that? Like, Republicans are vowing. Like, I think J.D. Vance called it the Inflation Explosion Act, and saying he wants to get rid of it, which includes a lot of funding for renewable energy sources.
I mean, I like I said, I don't think that everything that Biden did was terrible. Like, if Biden was running again, I probably would have ran for him. I probably would have voted for him.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you.
This is like, you're like the second person who's told me this, like, in the past week or so, that if Biden was a nominee, you'd vote. Why would you, of course I would have voted for Biden or Kamala Harris, regardless of who the nominee was. But then
Sure.
What made you be like, oh yeah, I'd vote for Biden if he was a nominee, but I wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris if she was a nominee?
Consecutive years of running.
Well, why does that matter? Isn't it just like in terms of what policy you can get done or what policy they support?
No, I think a lot has to do with who he is as a human and how he likes running things, like the demand he has as a leader. Like, you've seen him be bipartisan for years. For years, compared to Kamala. Kamala has been known. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering her name.
It's just Kamala. It's like a comma in a
I'm going
sentence.
to just say Harris.
Kamala.
But Harris has been one of the most liberal, like extreme left views that I can.
Hold on. She was part of the Biden-Harris administration. The Biden-Harris administration, 4 out of the 7 pieces of major policy they passed was bipartisan. She was part of that. She was part of these negotiations, and she's been bipartisan previously during her time in the Senate. And of course, as vice president, she's met with Republicans and worked with Republicans. So that just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why, you like Joe Biden and like what he's done and the policy that he's supported, but he himself has endorsed Kamala Harris to be the nominee.
it's just nothing personal. I just don't think that she ran a smooth campaign because, I mean, look at, if you see what's going on, like why most of the American people actually voted for Trump, right? Like,
yeah, like I know a lot of people voted for Trump.
She was proving herself that she was not fit for office to begin with because she couldn't even have conversations or dialogue with Trump eye to eye, or even have.
Wait, time out. She did the presidential debate with Trump, and it's widely agreed upon by both parties that
who?
What?
With who? Wasn't it ran by
ABC?
Okay. So you would say that both people were able, like she had the same side on her with her against someone that no one liked.
No. This was a neutral debate. And she did that presidential debate. And she, as I was going to say, widely agreed upon by both sides of the aisle, both Democrat and Republican, that Donald Trump lost that debate pretty handedly and Kamala Harris did really well. And then she challenged Donald Trump to another debate. And Donald Trump said he wouldn't do it. He backed out of it. So instead of doing a debate, Kamala Harris did a town hall with CNN. But Trump continued to run away from another debate with Kamala Harris.
And you accepted the results.
Yep.
Which everyone respects. Well, should respect, I should say.
Should people respect? Before you finish, should people respect the results of 2020?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Trump to this day still hasn't conceded.
Absolutely.
But anyway.
No. I'm not MAGA. I just chose one side over the other.
Okay.
What are you hoping for the next 4 years? What are you truly hoping for? Do you want to see change out of this guy?
Yes. I want America to succeed. I always root for America's success, regardless of who's in office. So I want Trump. I hope my best case scenario is that Donald Trump isn't as crazy as he is showing himself to be, that something might have just flicked in Donald Trump, but I recognize that is completely unrealistic, that's not going to happen. So my actual realistic expectation is that Donald Trump just kind of sits around and does nothing, and it's not as bad as we think it's going to be. I know Fox News host being the DOD secretary. This is all very terrible. So,
I mean, the Fox News host, I think is fine. Like he served in two different major wars outside of the country, and has a degree in Harvard, and I forget what his other degree is in. Why wouldn't he be fit for the position he has?
Because he's never worked in a government agency before. He's never worked in a defense agency generally, and he's never run an organization that's bigger than a small nonprofit. So you could say like, oh, I think his experience in serving in the military makes him qualified. Then maybe that's your bar for qualification for running the Department of Defense. But I'd say that bar should be a little bit higher, because if that's the only qualification, then Tim Walz, you'd say that he's qualified. You'd say that Pete Buttigieg is qualified. You'd say that all these different Democrats who served and haven't really run major organizations are qualified to run the Department of Defense. And I'd say, well, I'm not sure about that. Now, I think like Pete Buttigieg probably and Tim Walz probably, but like a random Fox News host who's been serving at Fox News for like 8 years, that just is like, in your view, do you think he's the most qualified person to run the DOD?
So I personally I can't say that, because I know that the guy's educated enough and has served for the military long enough to have experience in government overall. Just to have experience in government, to go to Harvard, you have to study government, right? Like you go to school for government and for what it is you go to school for, what in New York City, correct? Like these are the things that you study, and you actually talk to people about government. So what would make this guy less fit for the position if he put himself through education and served in the military? I'm just asking. I'm genuinely asking.
Do you think that just serving in the military makes you qualified to run the Department of Defense?
I think his positions in the military and the educational background that he has makes him more fit for a background that he.
So then you'd say that you'd be happy with Pete Buttigieg as Department of Defense secretary, right?
If
he went to a bunch of Ivies, he served.
I believe if he fits the description, or anybody that fits the description that has education or has put themselves in a position to learn more about our government and how it needs to be run, sure.
But don't you think that somebody who's already served in the Department of Defense or some defense agency in the United States and has kind of seen the inner workings of it and has actually run an agency or run a group that's bigger than a small nonprofit is probably more qualified?
Yeah, I don't blame that. I don't blame your
Okay, so that's not him. That's not him. There's a bunch of articles that have come out recently. There's a really good Politico one talking about reactions from people inside of the DOD to this appointment by Donald Trump, and all of them are horrified because this guy has no idea what he's doing. He's been a Fox News talking head for the past 8 years. He's not been working in the Defense Department. He's not been privy to some defense-related issues in the United States and had to work on them and has gained that requisite experience. He hasn't done any of that. For the past 8 years, he's been pushing, genuinely Republican talking points on Fox News, and he has assault allegations against him. He paid off a woman that he assaulted for her silence back in 2017. He's cheated on all of his wives and had kids with multiple different women. This guy does not strike me as the most qualified person to run the DOD right now. And I think when it comes to defense, we as a country should be putting in the most qualified people possible. Even if that person is more on the conservative side and a conservative is appointing him, that's fine. But I'd prefer that they have served in the military. That'd be great. They've served in a defense agency. They've run a major organization or something like that. I would rather them not just be a Fox News talking head for the past 8 years.
Sure. I mean, I think that your perception gives you that opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure there's a lot of people that also disagree with it. Is there anything that's going on right now that not that you're questioning, but you're just let's see if it works? Or
no, there's not a single appointment I've seen from Donald Trump which I think is wise, or kind of okay, maybe we'll see how this goes. Like RFK Jr.
How about Vivek?
No, I don't want somebody. First of all, this guy has been put in charge of government efficiency with Elon Musk. So both of them have these wild out there conspiracy theories about different issues. Elon Musk obviously himself is his own bag of crazy. But Vivek Ramaswamy is somebody who is called for getting rid of the FBI, our chief investigative agency in the United States, which prevents terrorist attacks daily. And they do this work behind the scenes. They do it very quietly. Why the fuck, and I mean that in the strongest way possible, would we even flirt with the idea of getting rid of them or putting anybody in power who wants to get rid of them?
Do we actually see that happening? I personally do not see any agency like that being taken down.
I don't want to take the chance. Donald Trump has said he wants to get rid of the Department of Education. That would be disastrous.
Well,
but Vivek Ramaswamy wanting to get rid of the FBI?
Of education, there's a lot of benefits too by taking that out because of the bureaucrats. The bureaucrats getting all the money. You also have to keep in mind of the fact that people with pensions or even qualifications as a teacher that might have more degrees than another teacher might get what they call merit pay. There's a few people that I know that are teachers that would receive more benefits without the Department of Education.
So why don't we if you're concerned about teacher pay, why don't we increase Title IX funding across the board and raise the salary for teachers everywhere?
Well, I think this is something that we actually need to preach locally to our local politics. Think I think this is what, me, when I go live, are the things that I also talk about is, what's the word? There's actually a saying think globally, act locally. Mm-hmm. And I try my best to do that, to try to do the best for our community here where I live. So, yes, I do try to play as much as a part as I can. And I have a family, so there's a lot that I have at risk too. So I try to take in consideration both sides. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad to have a conversation with you. and learn a little bit more about what you know. Mm-hmm. You're obviously more in it than I am, but as a family man, I like to try to educate myself and not argue, but question both sides.
That's fine. You can question both sides, but I don't know how that leads to you to voting for Donald Trump. Like that just doesn't make any sense to me. But maybe we just won't come to an agreement on that. But anyway, we can leave it there. We can leave it there, and I'll let you go. I don't want to take too much of your time.
No, you're fine. And once again, I appreciate you. I will give you a follow. Thanks, for the longest time, I was just like, I can't stand this kid, but I just need to talk to him. I need to talk to him.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm glad I could at least get you to tune in a little bit and have a conversation. I appreciate that.
One thing I would like to say, I do have a live, and this is in regards to protecting women. I don't know if anybody would like to check that out, but it's for men taking more responsibility and accountability when it comes to having sex.
Okay. All right, man. Thanks for coming up. I appreciate it.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Bye. Hold on now. Joe, thank you for the $5. Always want me to add him up to a debate. We can make that happen. Liv, thank you for the $5 for our coffee date. I appreciate that, Liv. That's very kind. Thank you for the $5. That's very nice. Katie, thank you for the $3. Crazy Liam from the other night is doing a live with you, Parker, Dean, and Chris as his green screen. Well, that just doesn't surprise me. I can't lie. I got to be honest. But Katie, thank you for bringing my attention to that. Tahira, thank you for the $5. Hey, Harry, I was mad at you for not going live yesterday, but you wore my favorite shirt of yours, so I guess you're forgiven. Hope you had fun last night, and green looks good in you. I mean the color, not the party. There you go. That's an important distinction. I appreciate that. Yeah, I did have a good time last night. I ran into some Trump supporters. It's a story for another day. Sean, thank you for the $2. Thank you for your incredible work you do and being an ally for the LGBTQ plus as well. Of course, absolutely. You know it. We, of course, we support folks and who they are. Molly, thank you for the $10. Where can I send my application to be Mrs. Harry's assistant? Yeah, there's a link in my bio application. You send it. I'm just joking, Molly. I'm flattered. I appreciate the $10 as well. That's very kind. That's my application. That's funny. Audrey, thank you for the $1. Can't wait to show you my super democratic mom. I can't wait to show my super democratic mom your content. She's going to love you both as a content creator and son-in-law. That was also a really good one. That was a really good one. You snuck it in at the end there. I wasn't expecting it. I appreciate that. And yeah, let her know. No problem with having another person join in. Nicole, thank you for the $1. I just ended up on a live defending you, Parker, Dean, and Chris, and got kicked. They hate to see a literate person coming. Sounds like you might have run into the same live as Katie did earlier. And Christine, thank you for the $5. Please talk about the court ruling in Texas about OT. Biden tried to put in place anyone making under 58,000 and a MAGA judge ruled against it. Look it up and talk about it, please. I will definitely look into that. I don't know what ruling you're talking about in particular, but I will definitely look into it. I got you. Just so much going on, Daisy, thank you for the $1. Missed you being live yesterday. Don't do it again. You got it. Of course. Rebecca, thank you for the $2. Add me back on Snap so we can continue our convo. Did we have a conversation? I'm trying to recall a conversation we might have had. I don't know. Maybe remind me on Cash App. I don't know. Oh, here is Joe. I normally don't do you donate, you get up, but his name is right there. There's no special privilege. Anyway, you get the deal. Make sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time and post videos and all that good stuff. Also, double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 100. Oh, wait, let me see what likes we're at. 200,000 likes, if you'd be so kind. And Venmo Cash App, link in bio. All right, Joe, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me in.
Yeah, no problem. You vote for Trump?
Yes, I voted for Trump.
What a terrible disaster. I mean, it's just a train wreck. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I understand that you were in that, but okay. So I voted for Trump for many reasons, but one of them, which you kind of touched on earlier, is his support for Israel. I think he was a better candidate between the two. And again, it was a binary. There's only two people to vote for. We're a two-party system, so doesn't mean you have to agree with everything. But I think for Israel and his Middle Eastern policies, he's been better.
So how do you feel about him appointing people to his administration who have just like denied the existence of the West Bank? They said it doesn't exist. Like Israel owns it, basically. I'm sure hopefully you disagree with that, right?
Well, I'm for a two-state solution. So obviously I'm not going to say everything, but I think let's go back to what he did, for example, in his first term, right?
Wait. Don't go back. Just answer what I just said. What Trump is appointing people in his administration. I forget his name. I can look it up if you'd like. That said that the West Bank doesn't exist and that, they're not settlements there. They're just neighborhoods and things like that. So
I believe Mike Huckabee, correct?
Maybe it's Mike Huckabee. It might be, yeah. Huckabee.
Yeah. So I think in that area, he chose somebody maybe a little more extreme that I like, but overall his policy for Israel and for the Middle East, during his presidency, there were no wars that happened in the Middle East.
That's not true. We were still in Afghanistan. Americans were still dying every year in Afghanistan.
What? I mean, they were not. And that was a Bush administration catastrophe, which he, obviously was against the Iraq war. But I guess that could be debated exactly, anyway. But I wanted...
Yeah. So, I mean, it was obviously a Bush administration failure, no doubt. But, Trump had 4 years to end it, and he didn't. And he waited until February of 2020 to strike a deal with the Taliban called the Doha Accords, which included things like releasing 5,000 Taliban prisoners, So,
well, part of a lot, I mean...
God.
A part of, for example, a hostage negotiation deal, right, with Israel, they release prisoners as well, because sometimes, unfortunately, you don't get everything you want. But, I mean, Afghanistan, so when Joe Biden pulled everyone out, are you going to say he pulled them out? That was the way to do it? I mean, obviously, there was a lot of things on the ground they had to account for. You can't just pull everybody out. And then, for example, the people in Afghanistan that were helping the U.S. government were left there. So do you think that was a failure of the Biden administration? Just pull out, leave all the equipment there, the billions of dollars worth of equipment?
We didn't leave
and
equipment.
Just leave it. What's that?
We didn't leave equipment.
So how did it end up in the Taliban's parade this year, their military parade?
There was equipment that the Afghan government at the time had that the United States government had given them over 20 years. So over the 20-year period, we gave them this equipment. It's their equipment. They owned it. And so when we withdrew from Afghanistan, it wasn't our equipment to take. So that equipment was seized by the Taliban. But in terms of American-owned, American-operated equipment, we didn't leave anything there. That is the conclusion of the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, and, of course, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, who was appointed by Donald Trump. He testified to this under oath in Congress. So that didn't happen. There's just a lot of misinformation surrounding the Afghanistan withdrawal. It's also important to note that Trump initiated this withdrawal. So the plan that the United States followed, the plan that Joe Biden followed, was Trump's plan. So he was put in a bad space from the get-go because it was just a bad deal. And this is the conclusion of former Trump advisors like H.R. McMaster, who said that Trump bears some responsibility for the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, and the Inspector General of the United States partially blamed Trump as well for the deal being so chaotic. So, and that was a nonpartisan, independent report done into our time in Afghanistan. So, you can't really say that it's Joe Biden. He was just given a bad situation,
I mean, of course, the situation, we shouldn't have been there in the first place. But again, it was a method. It wasn't necessarily the idea that they left. It was a method in what they did and how they left. I mean, I think at that point, it was a pretty, most people across the aisle just understood that was not the way to do it. But, look, and again, a lot of people that worked for him, of course, have a bit of vendetta against him. Either they were fired, we know that. So the fact that they spoke out against him, like his former lawyers or whatever, we know this. A lot of people that worked for him have personal vendettas against him. And you can say that shows in his character, but I would actually say that he just, if they're not doing their job well, he's not just going to keep somebody around just for diplomacy.
Mike Pence has a vendetta against Donald Trump?
Well, that I understand, of course, because that's a personal thing but either way, just to stick on topic.
But wait, I want one last thing on this. But do you hear yourself when you say that all these people who Donald Trump hired, handpicked, appointed, and praised are all suddenly coming out against them, and that means they have a vendetta? Or maybe these are just people, many of them who are lifelong conservatives, but have served their country, and they can see how dangerous Donald Trump is. John Bolton, John Kelly, Mark Esper, the lawyers you just discussed, many of his lawyers. I mean, all of these people have served with Donald Trump, seen him behind the scenes, and they say that he's a disaster. James Mattis as well. Yeah,
I mean, again, because we all know. I mean, Trump. He will, if somebody is not doing their job to the standard that he wants, then he's going to get rid of them. Now, of course, they're not going to be happy about that. I mean, people are upset all the time. I mean, the people that got fired by Elon Musk and Twitter were also upset they were let go, but now it's running more efficient and cheaper. So I don't think his idea was to just people. Well, that's either way. But I wanted to ask, because you were saying before about Iran attacked the U.S. under Trump's presidency. That means they don't respect us. Well, you left out the part that was in response to the killing of their top general, Soleimani, right?
Yep. So it just also like because not a great decision.
They shot some missiles. Well, they responded with missiles because they had to respond. Because they didn't respond, then their own internal politics are going to collapse. Their regime, they're a theocracy, and their people are not going to respect them. They're going to let another country do this to you, and you're just going to sit back. But there were no casualties. And I know you said there was 109 traumatic brain injuries. I'm not downplaying that, but a traumatic brain injury is a very wide, for the most part, it could almost present no symptoms. And most of them were mild, and they returned back to the military service. They never had to leave Iraq. It's not the same thing as having a severe injury and being in the ICU. So I think they're a little over-exaggerating what the injuries actually were. It's absolutely not an
over-exaggeration. A lot of these people had to go to the hospital, right? You don't just go to the hospital for like especially when it comes to a traumatic brain injury, just for like a minor thing. These people were like, their bases were struck with missiles. I don't know how you could possibly be like, oh yeah, they returned to service, which means they're perfectly okay. That doesn't mean anything. And the fact of the matter is, if Trump was so scary to Iran, they wouldn't have escalated in that way. And the fact that Donald Trump escalated it to that point concerned people who were serving in the military at the time. They were like panicked and trying to draw up plans just in case Iran tries to attack the United States further, or even tries to launch an attack on mainland the United States. Because of Trump's incompetence, there was no, obviously I'm happy that Soleimani's gone, a terrible guy. But in terms of strategic value compared to the escalation, it didn't make sense to do. It just didn't make sense to do. So that's the entire point around it. If Trump was so scary and the United States was so scary, Iran wouldn't have done such a thing.
Well, I would say that's where they had a very limited attack. The same reason, for example, the first time Iran sent missiles towards Israel, they purposely did not want to inflict damage. They sent drones first because they are scared, and they don't want to escalate in a way that's going to cause a full-scale war. Now, their people, they have to show their people. You cannot just get excuse my language, an ass whooping time and time again and just sit there and take it. So they're showing their people, no, we actually are fighting back, but they practically didn't inflict much damage. So
they struck on a base with American soldiers on them. We're lucky that it was just brain injuries. These people could have died, right? They could have died. They were big missiles striking an American base. That's not nothing. That's not just like it's like a sort of a strike to show their people strength. They wanted to kill Americans under Donald Trump. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But that was their goal,
I'm not necessarily sure if it was like they were trying to inflict that much damage. Again, the same the first, when they attacked Israel as well, they weren't trying to, they almost telegraphed what they're doing because they purposely did not want to have a strong response in return. But, but either way, there were Iran-backed proxies that attacked U.S. soldiers and killed 3 soldiers by an Iran-backed proxy during the Biden administration. So,
as there was with Donald Trump. But, there's a difference between Iran, the country, attacking the United States and an Iran-backed proxy. Like the H group is an Iran-backed proxies. The Houthi is an Iran-backed proxies. A bunch of different Iran-backed proxies in the Middle East. But these groups doing something, while terrible, and we should wipe them out in a humane way, in a way that makes sense, is not the same as a country, the government of Iran attacking the United States.
Well, essentially, this is all, they're all part of, it's like they're the head of the snake, right? Or the octopus. So it's all, these groups are nothing without Iran. It's not like these are just like military groups that get funding. These groups are built off their back because, they're playing a strategy where they get to attack different people and kind of claim, well, we don't really know if it was us. It's practically the same thing. They're getting the weapons are built and, sent to them.
It is absolutely not. Come on, man. Come on. Be real here. It is absolutely not the same thing. A proxy group attacking is completely different than a country attacking the United States.
It's kind of like saying hiring a hitman is not the same as you doing the murder, but you're still...
No, it's not the same as saying that because foreign policy is incredibly complex.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, you don't like Trump. I do. But either way, we're not going to convince each other. But do you think at least the Abraham Accords, was that a good policy that he had?
Sure. I don't think it really did all that much.
Well, I mean, you could say that, but if you're an Israeli that now could finally travel to Morocco or the UAE when you've been like basically banned from half the world, I think to you that's actually pretty meaningful because a lot of people have family in Morocco. For example, Israelis. Morocco, they used to have about 200, I believe, and 50,000 Jews, and most of them were, I guess, felt unsafe, and now the community's down to about 10,000. So a lot of people, and I've actually been to Morocco myself, have history there. So I mean, to say like it's meaningless, I guess, maybe to you, but.
You got muted. I don't know what's going on.
Hello?
There you go. Now we can hear you. Yep, you're good.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, now you're gone again.
Sorry, I'm buffering. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, the fact that now Israelis could travel, for example, to Morocco when they cannot travel to most of the world, do you not think that's meaningful for them?
Well, in the way that Donald Trump frames it, Donald Trump said that this was like the biggest peace deal in the Middle East and that he got it done and that, this established complete peace. And then under him, there was peace in the Middle East because of this. And I think that the way that he frames it is bad. I'm not saying that the Abraham Accords is a bad thing. I'm not like, if I had an option between having it and not having it, I'd have it. But the way that Trump frames it, I think, is incredibly disingenuous and dishonest. So in terms of like his intention of what it was, it didn't accomplish anywhere near what he said it did. But like, of course, there are like, occasionally good things in things that Trump did.
Right. Okay. Well, fair enough. Give me credit there. But again, he had 4 years in office. And in 2020, that's when he got, I believe, Morocco to join in 2020. So a lot of it first it started with the UAE, I think in 2018. And only later on did he get another then Bahrain, then Morocco, and it was like 4 countries that joined. And he was working on Saudi Arabia. So, of course, he wasn't reelected in 2020, so he couldn't continue that. And change is incremental. I mean, you're not going to solve peace in the Middle East, but I think compared to most presidents prior to him, he did way more. And the Biden administration had...
Hold on. You can't say that if he increased drone strikes 450% in the Middle East and he killed one of Iran's top commanders. How is that? Well, that is the opposite of bringing peace to the Middle East. Because unfortunately, for Trump, or at least in his mind, Iran exists. They're right there. They're a big, powerful country in the Middle East. So you can't say that, oh, well, he normalized some relations with some countries here, but then on the other side, he was increasing drone strikes hundreds of percent, and also killing a top commander of another country. That just doesn't. You can't. Those are conflicting beliefs there.
Well, I don't know. Well, why is killing a commander not? I mean, is killing bin Laden also against peace? I mean, sometimes people deserve their fate. So if they did something, you mess around, you find out. And obviously, he's not going to allow America to be weak. Peace through strength. I think we understand that.
Wouldn't you agree that going after Osama bin Laden was vastly different than that of the Iranian general, given the fact that Osama bin Laden wasn't embedded into any high up government position in any of these major countries, and that there wasn't actually a huge risk in doing it in terms of like destabilizing the Middle East, whereas there was with Soleimani?
I mean, yeah, I can see how they're not exactly the same. Yeah, Soleimani, that obviously was a little bit more, I don't know, called provocative, whatever. But they're actually, again, their response was not that strong. It didn't seem like they wanted any beef with America. They responded in a way which should not elicit a big response back. And by the way, you should give Trump credit for not going crazy, right? After that, he actually did not
come on. Oh my God. The bar is so low. The bar is not low. There was no war. By the way, you're talking about drone strikes. I believe Obama had way more drone strikes. I'm not talking about Obama. No, that's not true. Trump increased drone strikes from Obama.
Well, at least to do with civilian death. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that
Trump killed more civilians. Yep.
So what's your stance? So, I mean, how do you... Like, what are you supposed to do when you're just sit there and take it? Like, what's the strategy?
Sit there and take what?
I'm saying if you have somebody like Soleimani who's in charge of, all these different or not in charge, but obviously helping all these proxy groups commit terror all around the Middle East, right? So, like, just give these people immunity. Like, we don't want to start off. We don't want to ruffle feathers.
The Ayatollah in Iran has inflicted damage upon Americans and American-aligned groups in the Middle East. Do you think we should just go drone strike the Ayatollah?
Well, that's a little different because that's obviously he's also like a spiritual figure in the sense that if you do that, if you do that, then you understand you really, really, this is like people from I believe he might even be a descendant of the, Prophet Muhammad or something. So that's like a very strong provocation, which might end up like in a world war. So I don't think they want to do that. But
wait, if your definition is like, if your bar is, oh, they did bad things to Americans and American aligned groups, shouldn't they be held accountable for that? If that's the only bar and the only qualification, then you'd be saying, oh, let's go after the Ayatollah. Let's go after high ranking government officials in Iran as well.
Oh, no, there's a difference, right? The same way you see there's a difference between Soleimani and bin Laden, I see there's a difference between Soleimani and Ayatollah. I would be very happy. I wouldn't shed one tear if he was killed. But I just understand diplomatically, you're really risking, another world war by doing something like that. So, which did not happen with Soleimani, right? After they killed him, they responded with missiles. I'm not downplaying that, say it's irrelevant, because they had to. They had to show their people, because he was like probably one of the biggest figures in the country. I mean, if somebody did something to a U.S. figure with that high of a ranking, of course, the U.S. would have responded much stronger than that, because they obviously were scared of what could happen, but they had to save face to their people.
Yeah, so I'm totally aware that they had to save face for their people, but the fact doesn't change that they still attacked us under Trump, right? And they still tried to kill Americans. They knew where Americans were. They knew that they were on that base, and they launched a bunch of missiles at those Americans. And I'm obviously, like, the Ayatollah is a more significant figure than what Soleimani was. But the point is that your bar was that, oh, well, they've done bad things to Americans, so are we just going to let them slide? And it's like, no, we don't let people slide. But there also is tactics behind this. So my bar is different than yours. I would say that there are plenty of bad people in the Middle East who have done bad things to the United States and all around the world, not just in the Middle East. But it wouldn't make sense to go drone strike them, and it wouldn't make sense to escalate in that way. We are lucky that Americans didn't die and that Iran's response wasn't bigger. We could have avoided that altogether without Donald Trump not being an impulsive lunatic, which, this is a decision that many of his own military generals disagreed with. But also, we got to wrap this up because I want to bring up more people, but you can make your final comment.
Well, again, it's my opinion. I appreciate the perspective, but my opinion is, I think, if we're just being honest, you can Kamala or there's obviously a lot of reasons why I think it's a fair argument to say that, but I think specifically when it comes to the Middle East, most people are being objective about this. You don't have to like Trump, but I think he's done a lot of good things, or at least the Abraham Accords specifically. I just don't think that's an area where you could criticize him, at least to the extent you are. But I guess we'll have to leave it there, and I appreciate the time.
All right, man. Thanks for coming up. Have a good one.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. Make sure to keep double tapping the screen. Let's try to get to 300,000 likes. Rebecca with the $10. Harry side eye. JK. Don't worry, Rebecca. Don't worry. No problems here. Jack Piper's mom. Thank you for the $10. Don't read this out loud. You got it. Okay, Jack Piper's mom. I see you. I see what you're saying. I gotcha. Sydney. Thank you for the $5. Hi, Harry. I'm so glad you're live again tonight. I'm sure that's what you meant to say. Keep up the amazing work. It was honestly boring last night knowing you wouldn't be live. I'm sorry, Sydney. Don't worry. We're back. Tahira, thank you for the $5. Do create the link where I can sign up to be the future Miss Assistant and make sure only I can sign up. Maybe we're through link in bio or link in bio. Limited to, hold on. I needed to talk to you in a Rebecca, thank you for the $3. And you said, Oh, gotcha. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, thank you. Jenna, thank you for the $5. Say, my niece is in love with you. Will you tell your niece I appreciate her support and I appreciate her being here, and that I'm sure she's a fantastic individual. Make sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time. And of course, if you are MAGA, let me know. Someone in the chat says, would you ever meet Trump if he requested it? Absolutely not. Dragon, thank you for the galaxy. Thank you for the galaxy. The only thing I'd if I unfortunately ran into Donald Trump, then I would just tell him how much I hate him. We're bringing up another guest here, everybody, ladies, gents, boys, girls. Venmo, Cash App, link in bio if you want to support the live. And as I mentioned, of course, double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 400,000 likes. Fill up that entire bar when it comes up, and drop a follow if you haven't already. All right, what's up, man?
Yeah, I just have two questions, and I'll let you answer them, and I'll be done. I'm not going to be rude or disrespectful. But Biden always said he was a president for the people, correct?
Yeah.
So why was it the very first thing he did after he got inaugurated was shut down the Keystone pipeline and unemploy 5,000 Americans?
So the Keystone XL pipeline, first of all, the Keystone pipeline is still very much in operation. What was shut down was an extension of the Keystone pipeline, but the Keystone XL pipeline already had its own legal issues. A bunch of permits were being revoked or in question in court because a bunch of native groups had sued for it to be blocked because some of the planned construction went through native land. So that's number one. So it was already facing issues. So Biden kind of putting like the final nail in the coffin, which was already kind of a dead project, really didn't change anything. Also, it was only like 8% complete when it was canceled, so it wasn't impacting our oil supply at all. And we've more than made up for any loss. Also, those jobs were temporary, but we've more than made up for them by the fact that we've invested in the renewable energy sector, which is one of the fastest growing markets in America, and hundreds of thousands, millions of jobs have been created in that sector.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, and then my last question, and I just want your opinion on this. I don't know if it was a year or two ago when Biden and his administration bargained with Russia to bring home Brittany Griner.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, why would he choose a millionaire basketball player over a journalist that was falsely imprisoned, that was there longer than Griner?
So these things are really complex. It's not like Biden just gets to choose out of the group of people and be like, oh, this is who we're taking. This is who you're taking. Okay, done. Right. It's far more complex than that. These are really complex negotiations. So Brittany Griner, we were able to get home, and it doesn't matter if she's a basketball player or a millionaire. She's an American. She was an American being detained in Russia. So we were able to get her home. And obviously it's a swap deal. But then again, the journalists you're talking about, Evan Gershowitz and Paul Whelan, who is actually imprisoned under Donald Trump in Russia, were also later brought home by the Biden administration. And I'd say that Biden played a pretty key role in this happening. Like without Biden, I'm not sure if it would have taken place, because the German president, German Chancellor Scholz, Prime Minister? Is it Prime Minister? Or I'm having a blank right now. Is it Prime Minister or Chancellor in Germany? Can somebody tell me?
I believe it's the Chancellor.
Chancellor?
I believe so.
I want to see what the comments say. I want to make sure I'm right. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Chancellor, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I don't know why I said Prime Minister. I guess maybe I conflated Great Britain. But Chancellor Scholz said that he was having a really hard time with this deal, bringing Gershowitz back, because it would have released somebody that had hurt Germans. And he basically said to Joe, I'll do this for you, Joe. I'll do this for you. Meaning that if it wasn't somebody that wasn't Joe Biden, then it's not 100% sure that it would have happened. So anyway, yeah. All
right. Well, those were the only two questions I had. And, as a Trump supporter, I do appreciate the candor. I do appreciate the willingness to actually sit down and talk, instead of a lot of other liberal people I've talked to that would rather, when I explain my point, just mute me and kick me and not even let me explain my point. So I do appreciate you giving me a chance to just ask my questions and not prejudge. I do appreciate that. You have a great night. I just appreciate your time. I'll let you talk to other people.
All right, man. Hey, if you want to come back another day and have a longer conversation, understand that you're welcome to do that. All right.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Have a good one. Yeah. Appreciate it. All right, everybody. I appreciate y'all. Let's bring up, hold on. Lindsay, thank you for the $1. I see, I see your message. I actually, I'm not 100% sure. This is funny. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be in said location at that time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Not the time to address. Make sure to drop a follow. You know the drill. Also, Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio. Anyway, let's bring up the next person. If you are MAGA, of course, come on up and tell me why you're MAGA. Doesn't make much sense. Why anybody is, but I digress. We have the conversations anyway, just as that last gentleman was talking about. What's up, Mike?
What's going on, Harry?
Not much, man. You vote for Trump?
I did.
Ay. Why?
Well, why did you vote for Kamala?
Yeah. Because I think she's incredibly qualified, experienced, and she has good policy. So, she started as district attorney, then to attorney general. And in those roles, she did really amazing things. Happy to elaborate. As senator, she was great as well. And then, of course, vice president. And so she's really worked her way up the government and really got that experience necessary, I'd say, to hold higher positions in our government. And then she also had good policy that I agreed with, being pro-choice, investing in American manufacturing, expanding healthcare access, things of that nature. So that's why I voted for her. Why'd you vote for Trump?
Well, he's obviously 10 times better than Kamala.
Okay, how is that obvious? Why do you say that?
I mean, 4 years ago, we were living our best lives. Excuse me, don't mind my voice. I'm just getting over being sick.
Glad you're recovering.
Yeah, we got a bug going on down here where I live. So
Sorry to hear that.
no, it's the way life is. But we lived our best lives under Trump. Everybody was happy. Businesses were flourishing. We were just overall better.
Okay, so yeah, but the question is like, even if you believe that to be the case, which I'd argue for a lot of people, that wasn't the case, that people were flourishing and businesses were flourishing and things like that. But even if that was the case, what did Donald Trump do to make it the case? And what did Joe Biden do to hurt the economy?
Well, we'll start with everything Biden enacted
Okay.
to destroy our economy.
Like what?
Well, let's say what was it, CARES Act?
The CARES Act?
What act was it that he enacted?
The CARES Act, I think, was Trump, my man.
CARES Act worked, actually.
Okay. All right. But do you hear what you just said? You're like, oh, the CARES Act that Joe Biden enacted destroyed our economy. And then I'm like, well, actually, Trump did it. And then you say, oh, well, it actually worked. Do you not hear that maybe you're a little bit biased, a little bit hypocritical there?
Okay. Actually, I have a list of stuff I want to run through with you. Things you've talked about and like.
But can you acknowledge the switch we just saw?
Yeah, I misspoke and I apologize for that. Okay.
But don't you think that if like Joe Biden did the CARES Act, you'd say it was terrible, but since Donald Trump did it, you think it's good?
No, the CARES Act worked.
Okay.
All right.
But okay.
Okay. Can we skip that and go to something else?
Sure.
Ready? The other night you told somebody that our elections were the bedrock of democracy.
Yes.
Okay. So if that's the bedrock of democracy, why didn't anybody allow Kamala to be?
It's Kamala.
Okay.
You can just say Harris if it's too difficult.
Well, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. We speak a different language. Yeah?
No, there are plenty of people from Brooklyn. I know people from Brooklyn who can say Kamala.
All right. What is Ramaswamy's first name?
Vivek?
It's Vivek.
I'm pretty sure he's pronounced it as Vivek, but if it's Vivek, then my apologies.
It's Vivek, and I would like you to get that right. How about that?
I mean, sure, I didn't bring him up, but sure.
Well, I'm just saying, if you can mispronounce a name, so can I.
I'm not doing it intentionally. It sounds like you're kind of doing it intentionally.
I'm not doing it intentionally. It's how I speak.
Okay, so go ahead, say Kamala now.
Kamala.
There you go. Go ahead.
Right now, say Vivek.
Yeah, Vivek. Fine, no problem. But I just want you to continue your point. That's all. I'm just trying to get you to say what you want to say.
So why wasn't Kamala allowed to be primaried? If elections are the bedrock of our democracy.
Yep.
Why was she not primaried? And why were you fine with that?
So anybody could have run. There was no banning. What?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
The DNC made sure nobody ran against her.
No, anybody could have run. There was no saying, oh, the DNC, like Governor Shapiro, Newsom, whoever could have been like, yeah, actually, I'm going to run for the nomination for president of the United States. But none of them chose to do that. They decided to endorse Kamala Harris and unite behind her. So I don't know what you're talking about that nobody else was allowed to run. Anybody was allowed to. If they fulfilled the requirements to be president and they're a Democrat, they were perfectly allowed.
They did not let anybody run against her.
This is just not true. The DNC can't just say, everybody is prohibited. You cannot. That's not, the DNC doesn't have that power. If somebody wanted to say, hey, I'm going to run to be the Democratic nominee for president, they probably wouldn't have won. Not probably. They definitely wouldn't have won. But there was no prohibition on this.
Harry,
yes.
Can you agree with me that she wasn't primaried simply because Biden raised over $14 million, and had she not run, they would have had to give all that money back, and they would have lost all that money?
So he didn't raise $14 million. They raised a lot more than that.
Right.
They got 14 million votes.
I was being conservative in my amount.
Gotcha. So I don't know. I don't know the laws surrounding who the money could have gone to.
They would have had to give all that money back.
I don't know the laws. I don't know if that's the case, if they had to give all the money back. I know that there was a conversation being had, and I'm sure there was some form of consideration, but I think that even regardless of the money, Kamala Harris was the natural heir, right? She was the vice president. She was the vice VP nominee on the ticket as well. It just made the most sense for her to be the nominee against Donald Trump. And Joe Biden even agreed. He endorsed her, and immediately after dropping out of the race. And so I genuinely don't see a problem with what you're arguing here. And would you agree that elections are the bedrock of our democracy? Are you disagreeing with that statement?
I most certainly do.
Okay, so then why would you vote for Donald Trump, who denied the election results in 2020 and tried to overturn and ignore the votes of not only the majority of the Americans, but states as well?
And is that why everybody disagreed with the 2016?
Nobody disagreed with the 2016 election.
Stop.
Hillary Clinton conceded the next day. Donald Trump has not conceded yet.
Harry, I think you're a really good person deep down inside. I really, really do.
Thank you.
I think you're misguided and you spread a lot of misinformation.
Okay. I'm still waiting for that misinformation to be debunked, but okay.
What? Stacey Abrams didn't say this is a false election. Hillary did not call it as being a Russian-run election. Everybody on the DNC side said this was Russian-run. The only reason why.
So I just want, again, Hillary Clinton conceded the next day. The next day, she came out and gave a speech about the election. The next day, she conceded. To this day, as of the second that we're speaking right now, Donald Trump has not conceded. He still maintains that somehow, magically, the 2020 election was unfair. He has never accepted that. He went to great lengths, illegal lengths, to try to overturn that election and keep himself in power. That has no comparison to what Hillary Clinton or Stacey Abrams or anybody in the Democratic Party said. And what they said is actually the case, that Russia absolutely interfered in the 2016 election. They did it in 2020, and they likely did it again in 2024. That's not, and specifically focusing on 2016, that's not just me saying it or Hillary Clinton just saying it. That's the determination of the FBI, of the Mueller report, of a bipartisan group of senators on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and it went over 1,000-page report.
Which were all found to be false.
Wait, what? So the bipartisan group of senators, the Democrats and Republicans who investigated this and put out an over 1,000-page report, that's just all false?
Harry, what was the Steele dossier?
That nobody's giving credence to the Steele dossier. That was obviously a lot of the claims were unfounded and not proven.
You guys gave credence to the Steele dossier for his entire presidency.
That's just not true. That's just not true. I'm sitting here right now as a Democrat telling you that the Steele dossier does not have validity. But what does have validity is the FBI, is the intelligence community, is the Senate Intelligence Committee. And they've all concluded that Russia did this. But just think about this. Donald Trump, hold on.
For his entire presidency, they held the Steele dossier over his head.
I don't know. Can you give me an example of like a major Democrat in like 2019 holding the Steele dossier over Donald Trump's head?
Who paid for the Steele dossier?
There was funding from the Clinton campaign. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
For compiling a lot of this information. But hold on.
That's election interference.
That is not election interference. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The Clinton campaign's allowed to fund whatever they like, as long as it's within the law, that's absolutely within the bounds of the law. They're allowed to fund whatever they like. That is not criminal. Oh my God!
See, this is where
this is outrageous. Harry. This is outrageous. Hold on. Just time out for 5 seconds. I need you to just be quiet for 1 second.
No. You be quiet for 1 second.
I'll mute you if I have to. I don't want to do that, but I will.
I don't want to do that either.
Well, you can't mute me. That's the difference.
Let's move on to another.
No, I'm not. Well, you got muted anyway by Lena. Shout out, Lena. Mike, you're muted right now. Just so you know, we can't hear you. So here's the thing. The Clinton campaign's allowed to fund whatever they like. That's well within the law. They're allowed to do that if they'd like. If it's debunked, if it's not, whatever. They're perfectly within the bounds of the law to do that. So you calling it criminal is just unfounded. Also, think about the connections between the Trump campaign and many Russian officials. The fact that like Russian officials came to Trump Tower during the 2016 election, sat with people like Trump Jr. and Trump's campaign manager at the time to give them dirt on Hillary Clinton to help them in the election. How can you see that as anything other than interference? And we have a broad evidence talking about how the fact that a lot of the Russians coming down from Vladimir Putin, direction from Putin, set up social media farms to intentionally spread misinformation on platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and more. This was a concerted effort to help Donald Trump get elected. And this is a conclusion, again, of multiple different investigations, our intelligence agency, and multiple different groups. And you saying that anything else, you saying that it's not true, it never happened, I'm sorry. That's just not the case.
Okay. Through that whole thing, who was the only person to actually speak to a Russian?
There were plenty of people that spoke to Russians on the
Schiff.
Trump campaign.
Adam Schiff is the only person to have actually spoke. It's true.
Listen
The whole
what I just said.
The whole
What I just said.
PPK thing. Adam Schiff was the only person to have actually.
Wait,
spoken.
Michael Flynn spoke to Russians. Paul
Yeah, his
Manafort spoke to Russians. Trump Jr. met with, again, Russian officials in Trump Tower. What are you talking
so
about?
Did Hillary.
Hillary Clinton did not meet with Russian officials in Trump Tower. I don't know what you're talking about.
Who did she give the money to for the Steele dossier?
Whatever that guy's name is. Chris.
And he
whatever
was.
his name is.
And who was he dealing with? Russians.
No, he wasn't. Oh my God, bro! What the fuck?
All right, dude.
This
you
is
know what?
insane, man. That's just not true. This is not backed up by any of the investigations, any of the studies, or not studies, but
Let's move on to my next one.
the intent of getting dirt on Hillary Clinton.
Show me where that's real.
Trump even himself acknowledged this.
Were they Russian spies?
They were Russian officials.
I'm running for president of the United States of America. Where we have a problem with Russia. If there's an intermediate who can make this problem stop, I will sit with those fucking people.
That's just
you would too. Don't tell me you wouldn't.
yeah. That's just not what happened. That's not like a securing of like beef or anything like that.
How do you know that's not what happened, Harry?
Because we have an entire report on this and an investigation on this. And by the way, Trump listen to the tweet. Listen to the tweet I'm about to read to you. This is from Trump himself, August 5th, 2018. Fake news reporting a complete fabrication that I'm concerned about the meeting my wonderful son, Donald, had in Trump Tower. This was a meeting to get information on an opponent, totally legal and done all the time in politics, and it went nowhere. I did not know about it. So that's Trump himself acknowledging that Russian official. He says he didn't know about it.
Okay.
But he acknowledged that this meeting took place, and it's his campaign. Wouldn't you agree that the buck stops with Donald Trump? He's the head of the campaign.
Harry, can we agree that Hillary paid for the Steele dossier? So A negates B. Yes?
No.
Not a doubt it does.
Absolutely not.
Come on, Harry.
If a British spy was paid money to compile a Steele dossier, is not the same as Trump meeting with Russian officials to.
You're smarter than this. Stop.
I'm hoping that you can please see the difference between what you're arguing right now. Can I finish a sentence, please? The Steele dossier was a private expenditure by the Clinton campaign, which investigated Trump's connections to Russia. Right? Okay. That's it. Okay. Whereas with Trump, there was a very close to top-down effort to get dirt on Hillary Clinton and have Russians help them. I mean, Trump himself even said, Russia, if you're listening, find those emails from Hillary Clinton. And they did. And they delivered on that.
Harry, they spied on his campaign.
No, they didn't.
They did, Harry.
No, what's your evidence?
Everybody fucking found out after this.
What's your evidence?
Every report after this.
Hold on. Just cite me some evidence that the Clinton campaign or Obama spied on, because that's the claim that Obama spied on his campaign. Do you have any evidence of that? Any evidence?
And then,
Okay, I'm waiting.
All right, Google it, Harry.
The burden of proof is on you, my man.
You're good at Googling that stuff that works for your favor.
Yeah, because that's the argument I'm making. The burden of proof is on me. So when I'm Googling for me, it's because the burden of proof is on me.
You're the one sitting here and saying it's not true.
Yeah, so the burden,
Google it, Harry.
Yeah, if I say it's not true, the burden of proof is on you to prove it. It's not on me to prove your own
It's
point.
on you to prove that it's not true.
No, that's not how the burden of proof works.
You know what, Harry? All right, look, let's move on to something else because we're both going to agree to disagree. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just telling you that's not how the burden of proof works, though. But sure.
I got a couple bullet points from listening to you. Let's talk about inflation.
Okay.
Okay. Whose fault is it for inflation?
It's not one person's fault.
What caused inflation?
So it's a combination of factors. I would argue that the main cause of inflation was the pandemic that shut down the global economy. It made it impossible to ship things. The supply chains were backed up in the United States at the time, and products were not getting to shelves, meaning that prices went up. The demand was still high for things like paper towels. Everybody remembers trying to buy paper towels or toilet paper generally, but the supply was just not there to meet the demand, thus an increase in prices. That's the same with oil during the pandemic as well. But yeah, and you can also tell that inflation is a global thing because inflation spiked in a lot of countries at around the same time as it did in the United States.
All right, can I ask a question then? Why were we told in the beginning of inflation that it was Putin's price hikes? Putin caused this. When he invaded Ukraine, this fell on Putin.
Yeah, because it partially did. I mean, it wasn't just inflation.
Partially?
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't just because inflation. What they were talking about wasn't like inflation at the grocery store. You go buy like cereal or whatever or milk. That was not what Putin did. But what Putin did was invading Ukraine. Invading Ukraine cut off a major oil supply for the United States, which reduced the supply globally because oil prices in the United States, gas pumps, or your price at the gas pump is not based on domestic markets. It's based on global markets. So when there's less supply globally, as there was as a result of Putin invading Ukraine, then prices go up.
So that's the whole reason, right? So it went from Putin to now price gouging, right? We could say that, right?
It's a combination of factors, as I said at the beginning.
So when did it stop becoming Putin's price hikes?
I would say that Putin is still liable.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to my next one. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Why did Kamala lose the election?
I think, and again, a more nuanced answer, combination of factors. I think people wanted to blame one person or an individual or a group for inflation. And so people just pointed the finger at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I think that that's the same with immigration, even though that, Biden and Harris were not responsible for an influx of migrants. People wanted to point the finger at them. And there was an anti-incumbency sentiment around the world. So a bunch of incumbent governments have had big losses in recent years around the world in different democracies. Like the Conservatives in Great Britain got wiped out by Labour, and now you have Keir Starmer as the Prime Minister, and Labour is overwhelming there. That's the general. I think it was those three main things.
Okay. Well, can I disagree with you on that?
You disagree? Sure, you can disagree.
Okay. I would like to think it's because the last year of this administration was so fucking messy, disgusting. The minute Joe Biden stepped down, we didn't know who was running this country. For the last 4 months, we have no idea who the president of this country really is. You got to agree with that, Harry. You hadn't seen him from the minute hold on. And the story is, he really didn't post that notice to Twitter or X, whatever it is now.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck you got that from. But no, so as a result of what I
let you speak nonstop. May I finish?
I thought you were finished. My apologies.
Once that letter was posted to X, he disappeared. Joe Biden went like a fart in the wind, gone. Nobody knew who was running this country. We still, to this day, have no idea who the president of this country is. Can you agree with that?
That's just like such a crazy thing to say. So after Joe Biden dropped out of the race, he made Well, I thought you were anti-interrupting.
I'm sorry. I'll let you speak. I apologize.
No problem. After Joe Biden dropped out of the race, he had less campaign appearances because he wasn't campaigning to be president, but he was still going out there being president. He was still giving speeches. He was still traveling around the country. Joe Biden he's traveling right now. He's not in the country right now because he's traveling, right? So,
and he's sitting in the back
because it was alphabetical.
Is that right?
Yeah, the back. So if you notice, the leader of Vietnam was next to him because in the alphabet V is at the end and U is right next. Anyway, so it was alphabetical. That's how they had them lined up. It's not anything else. But aside from that, he's out there traveling right now, and he didn't just disappear. I never understood this talking point. To me, when somebody tells me that, Joe Biden just disappeared, like he's not president anymore, it tells me that they don't pay attention enough to the news. Because if you pay attention to the news and like dig into the news every single day, you see what the president's doing. Like you actually see him. It might not be on front page of CNN because CNN and other media outlets are covering the campaign, but he's still out there being president. And you just even acknowledge that you saw him traveling today in a photo. And so I've never understood this talking point of, we don't know who's president. Like what gives you the idea that you don't know who's president? Like genuinely explain that.
Well, he was gone, Harry. We had, all right, I got to take a breath here.
Yeah.
Okay. Once he announced he wasn't running again, he disappeared. He was nowhere. Stop and don't take that deep breath. Don't do it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I breathed.
I know
My apologies.
what you're about to do. You do that when it's like you're like this guy's an asshole. Don't do that. All right.
Okay. Go ahead. Keep arguing.
He disappeared for 3 months. We did not see him. We did not hear from him. There was no press conferences out of the White House. There were no meetings from him. There were no public appearances. There was nothing from that man or the White House. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
All right, do me a favor. Right now, get on your computer that's in front of you.
Yep.
And look up how many appearances he made.
Well, I don't know if there's going to be a number on that, but you know what I can do? I don't think there's going to be a number on that. Biden, made X amount of appearances here. But what you should do to settle your mind is in July, I think it was July 21st, I think the date was, that President Biden dropped out of the race. What you should do is go to the White House YouTube channel where they post all of Biden's public appearances and speeches. So you go back 3 months. Biden outlines his priorities for the next 6 months of his presidency. President Biden and Vice President Harris greet people on the tarmac after the trade deal with Russia. Biden drops by the White House Creator Economy Conference.
Drops by.
President Biden and Vice President Harris participate in a wreath laying ceremony. All this stuff is on YouTube in public. So you're like, where did Biden go? This is genuinely this talking point.
Last week, Harry.
This was. Look at the dates.
I'm talking about since he said he wasn't going to run.
Look at the dates on this. 1 month ago.
Well, okay, 1 month ago.
Yes, 2 months ago.
Okay,
2 months ago. It goes back. These are posted like very frequently on the White House 3 months ago. So when I would say that this is a bad talking point to make because for the one reason, number one, it's obviously not true. But number two, it exposes, and I mean this in the most respectful way, it exposes your own ignorance because you don't keep up with the president of the United States in the way that you would know that he didn't just disappear. He took in terms of media coverage, took a back step because he wasn't the Democratic nominee for president and the election was happening, but he was still very much out there being president.
Okay. All right. Let's move past that point. All right. I think I made my point. I think you made your point. Yes?
Okie dokie.
All right. I like that we can agree, Harry. I really do.
I love coming to a middle ground.
I think we're good, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say Kamala lost because she was a one-dimensional candidate? She only ran on abortion. That was it.
I disagree.
Nothing that affected Americans every day, like inflation and her word salads were just insanity.
You got to heard Trump. You heard Trump.
What?
Have you heard Trump? I was just this talking point's always really funny. Like, oh, her word salad, her this or that. Like, just listen to Trump speak, and listen to how like he talks for an hour and a half about absolutely nothing.
At least he could talk for an hour and a half. You got to get.
I don't want to listen to anybody talk for an hour and a half.
Did you listen to him on Joe Rogan?
Yeah, it was bonkers.
He was coherent for 3 hours.
He was not coherent for 3 hours. He was bonkers.
What did you listen to?
I listened to him on Joe Rogan. It was insane. It was insane what he was saying. Like he also couldn't. He was still on that podcast, still denying the results of the 2020 election. Could not back it up. And Rogan even pressed him a little bit. Now Rogan wasn't quite a great moderator of that, but Trump sounded completely incoherent. And just listen to his rallies when he's talking about boat sinking and batteries, when he's talking about Hannibal Lecter, when he's saying we're going into World War II, which is obviously not the case. World War II happened 80 years ago, right?
Yeah. World War III
he's nonsensical. So anyway, I just find that. But no, I don't think she's a one-dimensional candidate.
You think we're knocking on the door of World War III?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
All right, I disagree. Can we move on to some other stuff?
Yeah, but one sec. I want to respond to what you just said about her being a one-dimensional candidate. This is, again, I think, an exposure of your own ignorance and not an indictment of Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris ran on a number of different policies. She obviously talked a lot about reproductive rights because it actually does affect a lot of people. Like, a lot of people are thinking about this. A lot of women wake up every single day thinking about this. A lot of women who live in Republican states have to constantly think about this when they're with their partner, when they're going out at bars, whatever it might be. This is a constant thought for a lot of people. So this does impact people. But Kamala Harris also talked about inflation. She also talked about housing. She talked about manufacturing. She talked about healthcare. She actually had a plan for every single one of these things. Whereas with Donald Trump, he said, I have concepts of a plan when it comes to healthcare. By the way, Emma, happy birthday in the chat. I appreciate you. So Kamala Harris had actual policy. Trump did not. Like, let me ask you this. What's Trump's healthcare policy?
We're going to find out with RFK now, aren't we?
Okay. See, exactly. You're like, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. We didn't have to find out with Kamala Harris. We knew what she was running on, and what she was running on was good.
Was anti-abortion. Yes.
No, she's not anti-abortion.
Well, she's pro-abortion.
She's pro-choice.
Okay. Harry, would you agree that losing one female life because of abortion is horrible? One woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you also agree that losing one woman's life to an illegal immigrant, unaliving her, is as equally horrible?
I think both are tragedies, yes.
Would you? No, you didn't answer it. Would you agree?
Well, I'm not going to rank tragedies. I think anybody losing their life in circumstances like that is tragedy. It's tragic.
You're taking one tragedy and broadcasting that to the world to make it the most horrible thing ever. Now,
Well, I think that
you're not going to take this other thing and broadcast it to the world to make it as equally horrible. Would you agree that the tape released where Laken Riley for 17 minutes begged for her life?
I didn't actually hear any tape.
Yeah, it's 17 minutes of a phone call where Laken Riley's phone was on and she's begging for her life.
Mm-hmm.
Is that disgusting and horrible?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so why are you not turning around and saying, you know what? The problem with these people killing our women is just as bad as one woman being unalived from abortion.
Because I don't like this whole like, oh, this is just as bad as this. It's like putting it on a scale. I don't like that. I think they're both tragedies. Both are but they're both different, right? They're both different. So I think that. Hold on. I think that.
No. Hold on, Harry. If you're pro this side, you have to be pro that side.
I'm pro. None of these things happening. That's what I am. And they're both different circumstances. So having a conversation about a woman losing her life due to lack of access to reproductive care is a different conversation to what happened to Molly Tibbetts. Or excuse me, we'll talk about her in a second. What happened to Laken Riley? What happened to Laken Riley is tragic. And if it was so, if it was as tragic as Republicans talk about it being, which I hope they actually mean it when they talk about it, they would have tried to pass the bipartisan immigration bill that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and many Republicans were endorsing and supporting. That bill would have addressed a number of these things. It's also important to note that undocumented migrants commit significantly less crime than native-born Americans. And I find it interesting that you bring up Laken Riley, not the many other women who are killed by native-born Americans. You say, oh, this is such a tragedy, but these women that were killed by native-born Americans at a higher rate than they are by undocumented migrants are not spoken about. And the final thing I'll say is that I also find it interesting how no Trump supporters know who Molly Tibbet is. Do you know who Molly Tibbet is?
Yeah.
Who is she?
Young lady who had an abortion.
Wrong.
Well, hold on.
Molly Tibbetts was a woman who was killed by an undocumented migrant under Donald Trump. But when that happened, she got no media coverage. No Republicans talked about Molly Tibbetts. No people put her face everywhere and said, say Molly Tibbetts' name. Nobody did that. This is why this is such a frustrating instance, because what happened to Molly Tibbetts is tragic. What happened to Laken Riley is tragic. But Republicans picked one to amplify, not the other. They picked that one for a political talking point and to gain points in polls. Molly Tibbetts, they couldn't care less about. It's all politics with Republicans. So that's why when people bring up Laken Riley, I'm not saying you, I'm more referring elected politicians. I'm disgusted because it's a political talking point at the end of the day, not people actually caring about somebody losing their lives.
All right. Can we go now and move to another topic?
Sure. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Let's just keep rolling. All right.
Okay.
You brought up the border bill.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Why was it shot down by Republicans?
Because they didn't want Biden and the Democrats to quote unquote get a win on immigration.
What was in the border bill, Harry?
A number of things, expanding Border Patrol, hiring more agents specifically to deal with drugs, asylum, investing in technology to scan for drugs coming through the border, expanding immigration courts, rewriting the asylum laws, giving the president the ability to shut down the border or having a legal cap for it to be shut down. There's a number of things.
All right. Can I tell you what was in the bill?
Sure.
Okay. There was so much pork in that bill, Harry. 2 million illegals allowed over the border.
Wrong.
A year.
Wrong.
All right. Let me finish.
Okay.
2 million illegals allowed over our border a year. They wanted to codify catch and release. In other words, you come over the border, you're here. You're by law now, you're allowed to be here, and nobody could change that bill once it gets codified. $60 billion was going to be sent to Ukraine in our border bill. Why is Ukraine in our border bill?
Are you done? Can I answer?
No, I got another one.
Okay.
Another point of it. And they were going to fund NGOs in perpetuity. All right? Why are we funding NGOs in perpetuity? Why are we giving $60 billion to Ukraine? Why are we going to codify catch and release? Who would vote for that in their right minds would vote for that bill?
So there's a lot of misinformation here. The border bill was separate from the Ukraine funding bill.
Harry, pull your phone out again and look up the bill. Show everybody.
Yeah, I'm happy to look up the bill in just a second, but I have some points to make here first.
Show everybody.
Yeah, I have some points to make here first. So the Ukraine portion of the bill that you're talking about, the $60 billion, that was initially combined with the border bill, but eventually it was separated, right? And so the Ukraine funding that included funding for Israel, Taiwan, and things of that nature was eventually passed, and Republicans voted for that as well as Democrats. It was a very bipartisan vote for that bill to pass. So that clearly wasn't what was stopping Republicans from voting for the immigration bill. It also, what NGOs are you talking about that were funded indefinitely?
Let's see. The NGOs that wanted to bust them here.
Oh, okay. So this is obviously okay. So this is nonsense. Yeah, that's not true. There wasn't like there's nothing in government where there's nothing. Hold on. Hold on. I wasn't done yet.
Why am I talking points nonsense? And
because I'm sorry, it's not. You don't have to be on an equal scale with somebody in a conversation.
Harry, they're in the bill. It's in the.
I encourage you to read the bill actually, because there's no organization in government that's funded permanently. That there's just funding every single year, and it's like in law that can't be touched. That's not true.
Harry,
also,
I read the bill. That's why I have all these bullet points, Harry.
You did, but I don't think you did, because if you're saying that NGOs are being funded permanently, that's not how American government works.
Yes,
that's not how American government works.
Exactly, and that's why the bill was shot down.
No, that's not. That wasn't even included in the bill. Please find the portion of the bill where it said NGOs are funded indefinitely, like permanently. There's no touching the funding. Also, catch and release. Hold on. Catch and release was not codified into law as a result of that.
You have.
I can't even get out a goddamn sentence right now.
Go ahead.
No, catch and release was not like codified or whatever you're talking about, because catch and release has been used under every single administration. It's not just like hey, if you come into the country, you're automatic released. That is not what catch and release is. Catch and release applies to certain individuals in certain instances, but it does not apply to everybody. It's not blanket policy. It's specific policy. That is not what catch and release is. All right, and. The idea that all of these Republicans just voted against it because of these three fabrications is nonsense. Donald Trump himself said, blame me if the bill fails. He bragged about wanting this bill to fail. It was written by a senator that he endorsed, one of the most conservative in Congress, James Langford. It was endorsed also by the Border Patrol Union. So clearly the Border Patrol Union didn't have any problem with this bill. They actually endorsed it, even though they endorsed Donald Trump for president. So they even could recognize that it's a good bill. And it did a lot of things that you would agree with. So I just don't understand this outrage that is completely unjustified.
Harry, once again, we have to agree to disagree, right?
Okay.
Because there's no moving you from where you stand. Correct?
No, I can be moved on topics, but in this specific thing, no, I will not concede on this because I'm right.
Is there? Yeah, you're right. Is there one Democrat you disagree with?
There are plenty of Democrats I disagree with.
Give me one.
I disagree with Ilhan Omar. I disagree with Pramila Jayapal. I disagree with. I disagreed with Jared Moskowitz recently, who's a moderate Democrat.
And what do you disagree with?
Well, for example, on the most recent example I just gave with Jared Moskowitz, he was kind of appeared like neutral on Matt Gaetz being appointed attorney general. I thought that was a bad position to take. I don't think we should be neutral on that. I think that Matt Gaetz is pretty terrible. So there you go.
Why is he terrible?
I don't think he's qualified to be attorney general at all.
Why?
I don't think that he has the necessary legal background to be attorney general of the United States. And given the fact that he himself has been investigated for doing inappropriate things with minors by the Department of Justice, kind of strikes me as, not great.
Okay, he was investigated, right? Did you read that whole investigation?
No, I don't. I didn't read the entire investigation. I'm waiting. I want to read the ethics report, though, but the Republicans are saying don't release it, which is crazy.
Yeah, that kind of weirds me out as well. I agree with you on that.
So don't you think if the Republicans are saying don't release it, then maybe there's something pretty damning in there?
But don't you agree that in part of it, the people accusing him of these accusations approached his father and tried to embezzle $25 million out of his father.
What?
Yes, it's true.
What are you talking about, man?
Harry.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the victims?
Yeah, the so-called, not the victims themselves, somebody representing them, turned around to Matt Gaetz' father and tried to embezzle $25 million.
So I'm actually not familiar with what you're talking about, but what that sounds like to me is an agreement between parties. So it's not uncommon in law where somebody will say, you know what, we won't bring charges against you if we can agree to like a settlement or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not uncommon.
Yeah, okay. All right. Anyway, let's go to I got a couple other things. January 6th.
All right, but I have to wrap this up soon, though. I just want to keep you aware of that. But yes, January 6th.
Okay. Do you think that was just straight up Trump lunatics doing shit?
Yes.
Bob.
Yes.
All right. Have you seen any footage from January 6th?
Yes, I've seen footage from January 6th.
Have you seen the gates being opened?
Yeah, I saw
Being allowed to
some.
walk in?
Well, this was well after the Capitol was already broken into. Like, how did the first person get into the Capitol?
I saw them open the gate.
No, the first person, we have this on audio, on video with timestamps as well. The first person that broke into the Capitol used a riot shield to do so, a shield that they took from the police to break the windows at the front of the Capitol and break in. So eventually, at some point, a lot of officers stopped trying to interfere, or at least hold on. They stopped trying to step in the way of these people because there was like 100 of them to every one officer. Like, the ratio was crazy, right? So even if the officer said, "Hey, you can't come past this gate," that officer was either going to get badly injured or maybe even killed if they would have done something like that. So I understand the rationale behind a lot of that. What's up, Jillian? Oh my God!
See the footage
so amazing
of the Capitol Police.
Distracted.
You didn't see the footage of the Capitol Police escorting that fucking weirdo with the horn on his head.
the QAnon Shimon. Yeah. No, I did. That was like
it was
after
they were all
most of it had
buddies.
taken place. They were doing that. There's a couple of different reasons as to why they were doing that.
Oh, give me him.
Yeah, they I believe that they were escorting him out of the building and trying to keep him away from like some of the main chambers.
They brought him deeper into the building.
What?
They brought him into the chamber.
No, they did not.
They did.
No, they did not.
Oh, Harry.
What are you talking about? You think that Capitol police officers brought in the dude with the horns into the Capitol?
If you watch the whole footage, Harry,
I would encourage you to watch the footage.
did.
Look at the footage released by the January 6th committee who looked into this stuff.
Okay. Either way, do you think FBI were implanted in that?
No, I don't. Well, I don't think that. I think that the FBI had people who were overseeing this stuff, or not. I shouldn't say overseeing, but the FBI like knew about what was going to happen, right? But in terms of like people invading the Capitol, no, the FBI was not part of that.
Why was the National Guard not called?
Because Donald Trump didn't do it.
Donald Trump doesn't have power or authority to call.
Yes, he does. DC is federal land, so he does have the authority.
Nope, the mayor.
Nope, the mayor does not control the National Guard. The president of the United States. No, the president of the United States, when it comes to places like DC, for individual states, they cannot. But DC is not a state; it's a federal ground. So the president of the United States controls the National Guard when it comes to DC. Donald Trump refused to deploy the National Guard and sat there for 3 hours and just watched it take place.
Oh, okay. All right. One more talking point, Harry, and then I'm going to go. Okay.
Okay. All right. We'll do one more.
Why do you think this country is as divided as it is?
Trump. Yeah, it started with like the Tea Party movement under Obama, which Trump was involved in. Trump also questioned Obama's legitimacy to be president, saying that he wasn't born here. And then, Trump became president, running on a lot of just hateful rhetoric about immigrants, about women, about this, and that, and, saying absurd things at his rallies, like, if you punch him, I'll pay for your legal fees. That's just incredibly divisive, something we haven't heard in modern American politics. He would insult people. He insulted people in the Republican primary. He insulted Hillary Clinton. And then he got elected and then continued the divisiveness into his presidency, continuing the insulting and the childish behavior. And then during COVID, he spread just straight up misinformation about the virus. And then he lost the election and tried to claim that it wasn't fair and that he was cheated, and then incited an insurrection at January 6th. And then to this day has not accepted the results of 2020, and so on and so forth.
Can I disagree with you?
You're welcome to do so. Yes.
Can we agree that Biden, Harris, Chuck Schumer, Jeffries, you, Chris Mowry, Parker, Dean, calling Trump supporters Nazis, white nationalists, racist, threats to democracy. You don't think that causes division in this country?
So I don't think that Parker, Dean, Chris, or I, or Kamala Harris, or Joe Biden, or Chuck Schumer has ever called Donald Trump Mustache Man or affiliated with Mustache Man.
You most certainly did.
I've never called him that. No.
Dude,
But
stop.
I'm
You
telling,
called him a
I know how I discuss Donald Trump when it comes to those
called
very
him a Nazi.
big words. I've never called him that. No. I know how I discuss Donald Trump. I've never said that. But look, we're not going to apologize for telling the truth about Donald Trump, right? We can't just like sugarcoat the reality. Trump is undoubtedly a threat to democracy.
So I'm a threat to democracy.
Are you Donald Trump?
I'm a Trump supporter.
Well, I think that you enable a threat to democracy.
I think your party is more of a nationalist Nazi party than mine.
Please elaborate on that. How is that the case?
First of all, you ran a candidate without having a primary. That's nationalist.
There was a primary.
It was not a primary.
There was a primary, and the people voted for Joe Biden, and the people voted for Kamala Harris.
How many votes did she get?
She got a bunch of votes for vice president, and I'm sure that every Democratic voter in here, all these people that voted for Joe Biden in the primary, hold on. Every person in this chat right now who's a Democrat votes or voted for Joe Biden with the knowledge that Vice President Kamala Harris is the natural heir to that position. So when I voted for Joe Biden, I knew that when Joe Biden decides to leave office, whether it be in 2024 or if he won in 2028, that Kamala Harris would be a strong candidate next in line to be the Democratic nominee for president. And so that's what happened. That's we, the Democratic voters, voted for that with that knowledge in hand. And it happened a little bit sooner than we were thinking, but it happened nonetheless. That's not anti-democracy. And also, I'm just confused I'm confused as to what hold on, listen. I'm confused as to what you expected to please also. Before I just make the point I'm going to make, please don't give me wow when your guy tried to overturn a presidential election. Yes, he did. Oh my God, yes, he did. I'm so happy. I'm happy to talk about that, but yes, he did. Now listen. Hold on. I'm confused as to what you wanted to happen instead. First of all, you're not a Democratic primary voter, so please step aside. But second of all, what was the party meant to do? If the Democratic Party and the Democratic voters nominate someone who doesn't want to be president, there's no law requiring that person to run for president of the United States at that time.
Harry,
right? So if somebody drops out, hold on. If the Democratic Party tomorrow, wait. If the Democratic Party nominated you to be president of the United States and all of us Democratic voters voted for you to be president of the United States, you'd probably say, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to run for president. I'm not a Democrat. You could have the right to say, I'm not doing this. I don't accept your nomination. The party then has to pick somebody else. They went through party rules and they used delegates, and that's how party rules work. That's in the exact same vein, that's how it would work in the Republican Party if Donald Trump were to drop out. That the delegates who are elected by the voters, by the way, the voters elect the delegates, then get to pick the nominee.
Who ran against Kamala?
Wait, somebody running against the candidate or not does not mean that it's not democratic.
Who primaried against her?
Wait, just to be clear, if somebody doesn't run against somebody, it doesn't mean that the process wasn't democratic. It could just mean that nobody threw their hat in the ring. It's irrelevant.
Oh, Harry. Every time I think you're a bright guy, you go and pull this kind of nonsense.
I'm genuinely confused as to what you wanted the party to do.
The party should have turned around and said, you know what? To all their donors, the only reason why she ran was because they raised so much money.
This does not answer my question. What should the party have done if not delegates surrounding? But again, this is so fucking, okay. Wait. Just rewind. Just rewind a second.
Can I tell you what they should have done?
No, just rewind a second because when the Democratic voters vote in primaries, it's a convoluted process. But essentially, you're voting for delegates. You then vote for the delegates, who then the delegates on these voters' behalf go to the DNC and then cast their votes for this person. But you're voting for delegates. So when in the primary you're voting for delegates, you're also voting for the possibility that the candidate that you voted for dropped out, and these delegates who you have elected then get to pick a new candidate or give their delegates to somebody on your behalf because you voted for them. So it is a democratic process. And again, the absence of somebody, the absence of somebody, first of all, the 14 million voters voted for delegates, and the delegates then selected a nominee. That's how the party works. But the absence of somebody running against Kamala Harris does not mean that it wasn't democratic.
Harry, the only reason why she was allowed to run unprimaried was because they raised $14 million under Joe Biden. And had she not it was under the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris ticket.
I don't understand this argument, because is your view then anytime an incumbent president runs for office, when nobody primaries them, it's undemocratic?
No.
Okay, so then, all right, exactly. So Kamala Harris was running. So you acknowledge that there are circumstances. Hold on. Hold on. You acknowledge that there are circumstances when somebody not running against somebody doesn't mean that it's not a democratic process. It's just that nobody threw their hat in the ring. That's the same thing. Just use that logic here. Kamala Harris announced her intention to seek the Democratic nomination for president after being endorsed by Joe Biden, and nobody else did. I don't understand how you could possibly claim it's undemocratic because nobody else decided to run. That's democracy.
When was the last time during a presidential election that a presidential candidate, incumbent, raised $14 million?
It was way more. I don't know what you keep saying. It was way more. But anyway.
Way more. All right. We'll say $100 million. How does that make you better?
Sure. You can just, whatever. It doesn't matter.
$140 million. Okay. Raises $140 million to be the candidate for the next election. Mm-hmm. Gets his clock cleaned in a debate that the entire party turns around and says, this is fucking bad. The candidate we have right now is fucking bad. He's got to step down. And they force him to step down, and they don't put up another candidate because they raised, ready, $140 million under that dude's
I don't know what you're ranting about. I'm trying to understand your objection here, but you just keep saying, like, the money, like, what does this mean?
You're saying elections are the backbone of our democratic society. Yeah. And yet we did not have a democratic society vote for Kamala Harris. Nobody.
So we did. Like, this is what you're not understanding, right? When you vote for president, or you vote in your primary, when you vote for president, you vote for electors, right? And the electors go on your behalf and count and cast those electors. Thank you, Katie, for subscribing. They cast those electors for whoever the state voted for. Right. So it's indirect. So you're saying, oh, I'm voting for Donald Trump. You're voting for Republican appointed electors. OK, same in primaries. When you vote in a primary, you're not directly voting for Donald Trump. You're voting for delegates who then go to the respective parties' conventions, and they cast their votes as chosen delegates by the state and the party for that person, whoever that state voted for. Right. So when whatever Democrat state, let's just say California, when the people of California in the Democratic primary voted for Joe Biden, they voted for Democratic electors, who then those electors, if Joe Biden's the nominee, they go to the convention and vote for Joe Biden. But if Joe Biden's not the nominee, then those electors have room to cast their support behind another candidate. That's how the party rules work. That's how it works in the Republican Party as well. And for you to call that undemocratic is just wrong.
Harry, did that happen?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. What do you mean it didn't happen? That's exactly what we saw happen.
Harry, they were told who they're fucking voting for. Our person.
They were not told who they voted. These electors could have gone. These delegates could have gone and voted for somebody else if they wanted to.
I let you speak nonstop.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
They were told, Joe's out. It's Kamala. This is who you're voting for. That's it. This is our candidate. What's democratic about that?
Who told them that?
Had they not done the DNC?
Do you have any evidence that the DNC said you have to vote for these people or you're not, whatever you claim?
Well, let's see. Who was the only candidate, Harry?
But do you understand that these delegates could have voted for somebody else?
They weren't allowed to.
They were allowed to.
How so, Harry?
There's nothing in the Democratic Party that forces a delegate to, aside from votes, when the person who's voted for to be the Democratic nominee for president, there's nothing that requires these delegates to then be like, oh, or the party cannot require these delegates to be like, oh, you have to vote for this person. Harry, that is not how that works. And again, I also just want to circle back to the original point I made, which I find it so funny how you take such a objection to what happened in the Democratic primary in 2024, which we, the Democratic voters, are happy with, by the way. So I don't know why you're complaining, but you don't take any objection to what Donald Trump did in 2020 when he tried to overturn an election. Matter of fact, when I brought that point to your attention the first time, you just straight up said, no, he didn't. No, he did not try to overturn the election in 2020. So if you have a problem with what the DNC did in 2024 by following party rules, then you must have a huge objection to what Donald Trump did in 2020. Am I right?
Harry, who are you to speak for 14 million voters?
I'm one of those voters.
Oh, you're one.
And I'm speaking on behalf of myself.
Wait, really quick.
Oh,
I do want to point.
This guy.
What? Why are you already angry at him?
Bro.
Because I wanted to talk to you. I didn't want to do it too long.
Can I ask you a question, Mike?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
How old are you, bro?
54.
All right.
How old are you?
22. So I just want to be clear. Like, I was literally just going to point out when you said like they weren't allowed to vote for someone else. Yeah, they were, and there was like significant talk about. And off the top of my head, I'm not sure like if like the electors that like didn't vote or objected to Kamala Harris, et cetera. But there was like significant talk amongst the electors from certain states about like if there are certain people who didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris, and that's within their right. But they absolutely could have not voted for her.
Oh,
exactly.
You guys are, look, like I said, Harry, you're a bright kid, man. I think you have a very good future in front of you.
Thank you.
I really, really do.
Appreciate that.
Chris,
I doubt it, honestly.
Chris, you're a fucking moron. Right?
Jesus, that's pretty harsh, man. I didn't really get to say anything. Wait, why am I a moron?
Why is he a moron? That was
so. We all got to laugh out of that, right?
Yeah, it was funny. I respect that.
Why is he a moron?
Just fucking look at him.
Oh my God, dude.
Oh man, Harry. Oh man. Sorry.
Oh man.
Look,
oh man.
He wasn't primaried. They wouldn't let her be primaried. We all know that. All right. So you guys, unfortunately for you, that's who you got stuck with. And that ended up screwing you guys.
That's not unfortunate.
So bad.
It's not unfortunate.
Apparently it is, because you guys lost in a landslide.
No, I don't think it's I think that Kamala, I think we always had an uphill battle. So no matter who the nominee was, it was probably likely that in hindsight, they were going to lose. Right. This was not Kamala Harris's fault. She ran a near perfect campaign for 100 days.
You were on this platform day after day after day telling us Kamala was going to win.
Yeah, I thought she was. But then looking at I don't have a crystal ball. So when we look at the election results after the fact, and we look at exit polling and like what people were voting on, people were angry.
Yeah,
and so I couldn't judge that ahead of time. Nobody could.
Yeah, I was wait, just really quickly. I think like it's pretty easy to say like regardless of candidate, like again, like we all agree it was an economy election. Like essentially Republicans had the slogan like Kamala high prices, Trump low prices, and the needed Democrat yard sign was supposed to say Biden Harris didn't cause inflation. Inflation was caused by X, Y, and Z. Here are all the things that Democrats passed to make your life better, especially if you look at on the world stage.
Hold on.
On
the
world stage
to make my life better?
No, but wait, I wasn't actually arguing that for a second. I was telling you that from a stance of like, regardless of candidate, Democrats had like a very tough messaging uphill battle. They had to be like, oh, inflation wasn't caused by us. Here's the data behind it. We're way better positioned than every other country in the G7, but things are still too expensive. Biden did really well, but we want to go in a different direction. That doesn't fit very fucking well on the yard sign, right? So like, I'm just saying in general, regardless of candidate, that's a really hard uphill battle. It's a very hard message to get across. Because like obviously inflation was not caused by Biden Harris, and they did like more for domestic policy than like any administration in 50 years.
Oh God, Chris, who invited you?
Honestly, I just requested and Harry accepted.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dude, look, I don't think you're as bright as Harry.
Okay.
I think you're a coattail rider.
What are you saying right now?
He said he doesn't think I'm as bright as you. I said, okay.
Okay. You don't have to be mean to Chris. He hasn't even done anything to you.
I mean, I don't even like disagree with that. I seriously like
know why he's here.
Because he's my friend and I want him to be here.
Dude, listen. See, this is like, it was funny. Now we're like abusing the joke. Just respectfully, Harry's like my best friend. We do dumb college shit and we play like video games together. You're a 54-year-old grown ass fucking man getting angry at me. Why is he up here? Bro, go. You have a job. You have a wife or something. Don't be talking to me about why the fuck I'm here, bro.
I'm retired.
You're a grown ass man on the internet and talking about, oh, Harry, you were on this app every day telling us comment. Bro,
I'm retired.
Get the hell off TikTok, dude.
I'm retired.
Go see your grandkids.
I'm retired.
Okay, well then fucking go golf or fucking, go to sleep early. You don't have to be up tomorrow, bro. God damn, don't be telling
And
me,
that's why I'm up late
here.
And that's
Bro,
why I'm
a
up
kid.
late.
I'm just bored. That's why I'm here.
And then same thing for me. I'm bored. That's why I'm here.
All right, bro. You be safe out there.
You'll be all right now, bro. You'll stay safe. You're good, bro.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Amazing. Harry, I really enjoyed this. It was fun.
Here you go.
I don't think either one of us made headway. Right?
Maybe not.
Right? But I think we spoke on some good stuff.
That's right.
All right. I think it was great. Next time, I hope we could do it without you bringing fuck nuts in here.
I can't even. Why do you, I don't understand why you don't like Chris so much.
This guy despises me.
Well, Chris is great. He's my really good friend.
Oh, thanks, Harry.
You should pick better friends.
Chris is a great friend. Wow. I don't understand.
Jesus.
I don't understand.
He said good.
Oh, my God.
Listen, Harry, you're the second least liked person.
Who's the first least like?
Chris.
Oh, okay.
He's a fucking idiot. Look at him.
Okay. I've literally never experienced somebody who's like, so like, you know what, Harry, we had a great conversation, but fuck Chris. Like normally it's like it's either equal or the other way around.
It's normally the other way around. Yeah.
Listen, if Chris was my kid, I would have pushed my wife down a flight of stairs.
Okay, bro. Now you gotta leave.
I think that's enough.
Now you gotta leave. Now you gotta leave. You're good, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. Now you gotta leave.
Jesus fuck.
Now you
Holy
gotta
shit.
leave.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. I think he really tried to like extend the semi joke too far.
That was kind of crazy.
All right.
Really funny. Maybe. Katie, thank you for the $5. Thank you for standing up for women. It gives major BDE. P.S. Come home. The kids miss you.
Wow.
I appreciate that, Katie. That's funny. Corey, thank you for the $10 to hang up on Mike. He will not budge. Well, this was 46 minutes ago, so I probably should have done that earlier.
Jesus, you talked to that guy for that long?
I talked to that guy for like an hour. Yeah. I appreciate it, Corey. Thank you. Zoe, thank you for the $5 from Zoe Sisson. Let's make this a fact. Also, I love what you do.
You're getting this guy gold with it, bro.
I love what you do and hope you take care of yourself. Well, Zoe, thank you so much. It's incredibly kind. And I hope you take care of yourself too. I appreciate you being here. Again, as I was just saying to the amazing folks before you, this is a fight that involves all of us. It's not just me. It's not just you. It's not just anybody. It's going to take all of us. So Zoe, I appreciate you. Look at Colleen in the chat, the Riz.
If you guys knew how this guy, like, dude, he smells.
Can you just be quiet while I go through this stuff without chirping, please?
He smells so bad.
Dude, Chris actually smells, like, I'm not even lying. So I'm like a religious showerer. I know that's not a word. Like I shower like all the time.
Wow,
I often shower twice a day.
Clean,
but Chris does not shower at all. He's like one of those guys who believes like, oh, I need the natural body oils to like really set in. I'm like, Chris, it's just BO, buddy. Why don't you shower? Yep. Sydney, thank you for the $3.
It's hate on Chris Day. That's all it is.
Next one of mine you don't see.
No one fucking cares about me. No one fucking cares.
The next one of mine you see, don't read out loud. I mean, okay, will not. Jax, thank you for the $30. Love watching you. This Mike ID is obviously a racist. Funny he mentions L. Riley, but not Sonia Massey, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Eric Gardner, Emmett Till, etc. The list goes on and on. Keep schooling these hooligans. I appreciate that. Thank you for the $30, man. That's incredibly kind. That means a lot. And thank you for being here. Jax. It really means a lot. You're incredibly kind. You're amazing. I hope you're doing well. Danielle, thank you for the $5. I genuinely want to know if that last guy gets his everyday news from the National Enquirer. He's been drinking the Kool-Aid for sure. It seemed like it. I mean, it really did. The fact that he like wrote off the, Trump trying to overturn the election, but the DNC having a primary. That's my God. Christina, thank you for the $3.69. It's, oh my God, Chris is, it's so hot when you put Republicans in their place.
Bro, what the hell is going on, dude?
Christina, I appreciate you.
Jesus
Thank
Christ,
you so much.
brother. What, like, I think these edits, like Harry's starting to get his own edits.
Just be quiet, dude. Just be quiet.
Jesus,
Christina,
bro.
I appreciate you,
Hey,
Christina.
hey.
Thank you, Christina. I appreciate you being here. You're amazing.
Guys, if you add Harry J.
JW.
Sisson on Snapchat, I'm sure he'll Snapchat.
Yeah. By the way, it's Harry J. Sisson on Snapchat, by the way. It's Harry J. Sisson on Snapchat. Jason, yo, JW, thank you for the $10. Support and love, enjoy, protect your peace. We're trying, man. I hope you're protecting your peace too. And I appreciate the $10 and your continued support. And by the way, I just want to point out there that link to my Snapchat is in my bio, along with my other social media
Look
platforms,
at this
including Instagram.
Guy, dude.
Anna, thank you for the $1. I often respond to people on Snapchat, by the way. Anna,
yeah, all right, bro. Yeah, you should relax there, buddy.
Be quiet. Anna, thank you for the $1. Tell Mike to go back to his basement. What a POS. Thanks for the entertainment. Anna, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Lee, thank you for the $15. Harry, Mike was on too long. Your patience is incredible. I also gifted Chris because he is smart and I love him as well. Aww.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting that fucking pity right there. Okay?
It's not pity. It's not pity.
No, I'm kidding. Thank you so much.
Zariah, thank you for the $1. Just shout out my sister Zoe and tell her to come play cards with me. Zariah needs to go play cards. Go do it.
Excuse me.
Leah, thank you for the $2. The guy in the debate was rude. I love Chris and you. Wait, just for the record, Chris, he goes, I love Chris, ... and you. She said you first, man.
Yo, shout out. I love you. You're the best.
Desta, hold on. Desta, thank you for the $2. Please pray for me. My house oh my God, bro. My house burned down and I got diagnosed with cancer all in 1 week. Showing Desta, that is incredibly sad. I'm really sorry. If there's anything that we can do to help you, just like, please let us know.
Hey, listen, one day at a time. One foot forward. Even in the darkest moments, the answer is still to put 1 foot forward. We're incredibly proud of you.
That's like, I'm so sorry. Like I'm going to send you your $2 back. Obviously, I just appreciate you being here, and the fact that you're here, and the fact that you're here while powering through is like amazing. So, it means a lot, and I appreciate you being here. I'm sending you your $2 back. I mean, So Desta, we're thinking of you again. Reach out if you ever need anything. We appreciate you a lot. All right. I hope you know that. Allison, thank you for the $1. Just want to say hi, and I love you, and thank you for being you. As always, love your favorite mod. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate you being here as well. Sydney, thank you for the $2. Thank you for being a voice for me as a rape victim, but also an LGBTQ plus member and woman. Of course, Sydney, we fight for you. And we try to include everybody. Courtney, thank you for the $5. Chris plays with his hair too much for it not to be. Oh my God, he plays with his hair too much for it not to be. Sorry, okay. Chris plays with his hair too much for it to not be grease coated without frequent showering. Dude,
you guys are not nice.
Yeah, Courtney, I appreciate
I'm leaving. You. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I really gotta stop. I fucking fidget. And yes, I cannot go a day without shampoo and conditioner. I do as soon as I wake up, my hair is greasy. They would say, "Oh, Chris, shampoo. You should, if you cut back on the shampooing, then your body will naturally stop." No, you're good, bro.
All right, if you're MAGA, let us know in the chat. We'll bring you up.
Can I
Tanner, thank you for the 50 cents. Chris is going to be in all the slideshows. I'm crying. Free that Maori till it's backwards. Yes, sir. Yeah, free that man till it's backwards.
Free Maori till it's backwards.
Free Maori till it's backwards.
Yo, all love, guys. I appreciate you. I do appreciate everybody. Seriously. Oh, really quickly.
No, I'm not done yet. Oh. Owen David, thank you for the $5. I'm Owen David. Can I come up? Yeah, we can I think he's literally right there. I'm not inviting him up because he donated. I'm inviting him up because he's MAGA and he's right there.
Hey,
Allison, thank you for the $1. Harry, lost my Snapchat. Can you add me so I can find it? Smooth. Can't even lie. That was pretty cold. Veronica, good to see you. Oh my God. Someone cutie is popular tonight. Veronica, I appreciate the $1.
Jesus Christ.
Chris is going to lose his goddamn mind. Stephanie, thank you for the $3. Tell Chris he's the favorite for the day.
I love you. You're amazing.
And then a bunch of these I will read in a second because I want to give Chris the opportunity.
Okay, really quick, guys. All love. I love all of you. You're the best. Rebecca, so good to see you. Sending $11 because I sent 10 to Harry. Huge W's for Rebecca. That goes a super long way. I never take it for granted. It's good to see you. I'm proud of you. I'm going to respond to some of your DMs. You're the best. Leah, $2. That guy in the debate was rude. I love you. That's all right. It happens. Leah, you're amazing, and I love you. I really, really appreciate that type of support. Truly means the world.
Stop lying.
Wow. Leah, another Leah K this time, $15 on Venmo. It really means a lot. Like, truly, again, this is not something, Harry, I take for granted. Thank you so much. Harry, Mike was on for too long. Your patience is incredible. I also gifted Chris because he is smart and I love him as well. Same thing. I appreciate you, Leah. Thank you so much, truly. Catherine Scott, can I get at least 100 W's in the chat for $100 from Catherine? Chris, you're great and passionate about what you do. A million, some blue hearts. Guys, so many W's. Catherine, you have always been so incredibly kind. There's never any pressure to donate. And just like this level, and I can just like, you know, get caffeine in the morning. Fucking like I just put a bunch of money into like this Twitch setup and cameras. Like it means so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Huge W's. Allison, $1. You're a smart cookie. Don't listen to the haters. Allison, I love you.
Listen to them, Chris.
No, Harry's a hater. You guys, I told someone else who came up, she said, oh, I just want to come up like you, Harry. Like, you guys are like the best. And like, I had to pretend to be MAGA. I've learned so much from you guys. I literally said, well, fact check, especially Harry. He lies a lot. Corey, thank you so much for $20 on Venmo. Holy shit, you guys are crazy. It truly means a lot. Sorry, Mike was an ass. I tried to boot him 46 minutes ago. That's all right, Corey. It's all right. He just got to roll off. Just let it roll off the back.
Maybe
I appreciate you
like
so much.
A thing.
Thank you so much for $20. Truly, it means the world. I mean it. Killer, so good to see you. $2. It's okay. I'll marry you and feed you chicken nuggets every day.
Damn, Chris, golly, dude, this guy's
I'm sorry. I was cut off guard from this. The chicken.
He's flustered.
Killer. It's great to Killer. It's great to see you. Great to hear from you. Thank you so much for $2. Goes a long way.
Why chicken nuggets though? Out of particular,
man, such a bitch ass. Yo, Dragon Piper's mom.
Okay, wait. Just I want to point out something. Everybody's like, "Oh, Chris, I feel so bad for him." Do you see what he just said right there?
I said, "Hey, will you please be quiet?" Okay. Yo, Jack and Piper's mom.
God, this
guys,
is such
all the
a
support
mistake.
means the world. Jack and Piper's mom, $10 on Venmo. Thank you so much. Don't read this out loud. Oh my God. Jack and Piper's mom, I love you. You're the best. You're absolutely
Wait.
JW, thank you so much for $5. Chris, can you add me back on Blue Sky and Threads? Guys, we love JW. You've been so supportive tonight in my life as well. I got you. I'll add you back on both. Thank you so much. And Luca, $2 on Venmo. Thank you so much. Everybody, come home. The kids miss you. Tell the children.
Let me ask you this.
Hold on. Be quiet. Hold on. Luca, excuse me.
It's my own fucking live.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. Luca, if you didn't send our kids to a fucking woke private school, okay.
All right, what's going on, man?
If you didn't send our kids to a woke private school, I wouldn't have to work 2 jobs. Okay, tell the kids. No, I'm kidding. Luca, I love you. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm not opposition. I just need 2 seconds of your. I just want to ask one question.
Did I talk to you recently, or am I mistaking you with somebody else?
No, I don't think so. Probably somebody else.
All right.
I've talked to Christoph a few times, but so I have a question about Kamala. So I often hear this by Republicans, and I don't really know how to answer it. So obviously, she spent like over $1 billion on her campaign, and now she's in debt. What is like the response to that where people are like, oh, how can we trust her with like our government? If she overspends $1 billion,
it's just a bad argument, isn't it? Here's why. So first of all, Kamala Harris is not running the books of her campaign, right? Like she's not doing the financials. She's not sitting there with a book and like writing everything down, right? So that's not obviously she's not doing that. Also, this is very common. Campaigns go into debt all the time, especially these bigger national campaigns. They go into debt all the time. Like Trump's campaign is still in debt for things that he did in 2016. Right. So I find this talking point of like, oh, Kamala Harris has debt. One, it just shows that people don't pay attention to presidential elections all that often. But number two, it also shows that they don't, that their own guy is in debt still stretching all the way back to 2016. So anyway.
All right. Yeah, that was just my question.
And lastly, I'd just say like, again, like, I don't think that like spending on that level of like a campaign when like obviously her main job is to campaign. Right. Like she's there to campaign and come up with messaging and all these things and like work to the White House. And she's also vice president. Like she's not in control of those finances. Like to spend like $1 billion in like really complex ways on like a media blitz and like the most tense presidential election of all time, like doesn't compare at all to like you know, like how a government spends money, and like obviously like she doesn't have, if she was the president, she doesn't have control over that, right? Like that's going to be like a lot of congressional stuff. So I agree with Harry. Like, yeah, just like isn't really like it's just kind of like a talking point. It's not really a great argument, but thanks for like fighting the good fight.
Yeah, appreciate it. I appreciate what you guys do as well.
Of course,
I watch you guys literally all the time.
Oh, dude, you're amazing. Like, truly, we appreciate that so fucking much. If Harry was like paying attention right now, he'd say the same. And I think he's talking to someone on the phone. But yeah, dude, you rock. If you need anything else, like, you're always welcome up.
Thank you. I appreciate what you guys do. Keep doing what you're doing and just keep fighting the fight.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
you guys.
Thanks, man. You too. Be safe out there. We'll talk soon. All right, guys. Harry's like laughing. What is this guy fucking doing right now? I'm on. I have to go back. I'm trying to read lips. Who's he giggling so much with, bro? Look at the way he's on. You guys think that's a lady? He's pointing. Who's that? Who's that?
Yo, JW, thank you for the $5, man. Can you follow me back on Threads and Blue Sky? Definitely can do that. Elise, thank you for the $10 cents. Tell Chris to add me back on Snap. He keeps forgetting, and I hate to do this. Chris, add Elise back. Would you be
I'm
so
going to
kind?
do that right now.
Virginia, thank you for the $1. Love watching your lives. Never a dull moment. You're the sweetest human and deserve all the love you get. Haha. Love both you and Chris.
Yo, so who was just on right there?
Yo, Jennifer, thank you for the $5.
on the
As an
phone,
old
buddy?
woman, I just wanted to say the blushing is adorable. Keep it up, ladies. Also, Harry, keep up the education. Yo, Jennifer, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here.
Dude, you guys gotta stop
That's incredibly
stroking this
kind.
dude's ego, bro.
Allison, thank you for the $1. Harry, help. A MAGA is flirting with me in your comments, and he's 50. Get away. Dude, whoever this dude is in the chat that's flirting with Allison in the chat, brother, please go do something else. Please go do something else.
Hell yeah.
Elizabeth, thank you for the 1 cent. I won't read out that. Tyler, thank you for the $1. Please pin her Venmo so we can donate. We can make that happen. Actually, it's not a bad idea. Audrey, $1. What's Chris's Venmo? It's the same as his TikTok username. The exact same. A lot of people try to impersonate us on Venmo Cash App, so just make sure you're typing it in exactly because you don't want to get scammed. Christy, thank you for the $5. I told my 18-year-old daughter to ditch her raggedy ass boyfriend and find someone like you or Chris.
Jesus, dude.
Well, we're flattered.
Yeah, that's a mistake. If you saw us outside of this, that would be a mistake. I mean, we're pretty dumb.
Well, Chris is particularly. Sydney, thank you for the $2 as well. Does Chris have a Venmo?
You've had your fair share of bad moments. All right. We go do stupid shit. We've had some crazy. Well, you actually really haven't had any crazy.
Never. Sydney, Chris's Venmo is the same as his TikTok username. Chloe, thank you for the $1. Love you, Harry. Thanks for what you do, Chloe. We love you back. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you do. Remember, you're part of this. You're part of the fight. You're doing great work. Do you ever just stop?
Oh.
Grace, thanks for the $1. Let me tag team with Owen 2v2. How about you can just come up and debate. Allison, thank you for the $5. Listening while putting up Xmas decorations. It's so funny how even when you completely prove these people wrong, all they can respond is, well, we can agree to disagree. I get in similar debates with my friend that is a Trump supporter, and I swear they're all the same. There is some overlap. It is quite a little, a Venn diagram, I'd say. I appreciate you, Allison. Paige, thank you for the $10. Love all that you stand for. I hope your future is bright in politics. Thank you, Paige. Maybe Harry 2048. Just keep that in mind. Katie, thank you for the $1. I had to drive my 6-year-old daughter 6 hours to Dallas here in Texas to see a specialist because nobody in my area takes Medicaid. She's been sick since she was 18 months old. If anyone ever says red states are better, they're full of it. Please keep up Dems, Texans in your thoughts. Yeah, I appreciate you, Katie. That's terrible. I mean, exactly. You put it really nicely about Republicans and whatnot and like how they deal with this stuff. So appreciate you, Katie. Raul, thank you for the $1. Tell my cousin Zoe to come play cards with her family and her gay cousin she doesn't love very much. I don't think I can get that involved in some family drama there. I gotta be honest. Allison, thank you for the $1. Maybe Chris can find my Snap to tell him to add me. Guys, talk about somebody that doesn't need their ego boosted. I mean, it's Chris Mowry every day of the week. And I'm going to run through these super quickly. Actually, let me get a MAGA up here so we can you can get going. Kyle, and while we do that, Kyle, thank you for the $1. Genuine question. What happened to your chin? I got surgery a while back, like in September.
Dude, I had a Sigma, I think. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Bug, thank you for the $2.
I get so mad if someone came up here and said that. I would get so angry if someone said that up here.
I can't believe what I've just heard. Sometimes you just have to ignore him, like Chris, have his little freakouts.
Bro, you can't say that. It's not nice.
Just let him do his thing. Yo, Bug, I just invited you, by the way, Brandon, if you want to come up and debate. Bug, thank you for the $2. I'm new to your content, but I love it. And you so far. Well, Bug, we love you too. I appreciate it. Daisy, thank you for the $1. Hello, Chris.
sorry, I'm on focus here. No comment on that matter.
No comment. Kathleen, thank you for the $10. You and Chris are amazing. I'm so grateful for you. Kathleen,
Jesus Christ.
dude, it sounds like we just loaded up into like a COD lobby, bro. Grace, thank you for the $5. Isabella, thank you for the $1. I know it's not a lot, but I wanted to contribute. Isabella, it all means a lot to me. Thank you for just being here. I appreciate you. Linda, thank you for the $2. Not much, but you're an amazing person. Thank you. Same goes to you, Linda. You just being here means a lot. David, thank you for the $1. Brianna, thank you for the $4. Wait, hold on. Ask Chris if he's single.
Bro, guys, I'm not talking about relationship stuff on TikTok. I'm not.
Tell Daisy, thank you for the $1. Tell Chris I'm also in love with his.
Brandon, why are you connected to a fucking pizza box right now as your mic, dude?
Wait, hold on. Last few. Mark, thank you for the $5. It was not a landslide. I agree. Jenna, thank you for the $5. Look forward to the day to vote for you. Hopefully soon. Daisy, thank you for another $1. Rebecca, $1. Let me add you back so we can answer my questions. We'll definitely do that. Sandy, thank you for the $1. I love you, Harry. You're amazing. Sandy, you're amazing too. And Kimberly, thank you for the $5. Essence, thank you for the $3. And Jenna, thank you for the $5, saying my niece is in love with you. We'll tell your niece we love her back.
Oh, God, dude, Jesus Christ.
All right, Brandon.
Well, dude, Brandon, buddy. Why? What was going on here, man? Why? I mean, it sounds like you're breathing like right into a fucking. Did you ever go to like game? Like, I don't know how old you are, but like when I was a kid, I'd walk into like a GameStop that was popping, and for like $8, I could get a fucking like one of those like really shitty Xbox mics that I could just like breathe into, like have inside my mouth, basically. Balls. Brandon, what
that was done. No. I did vote for Trump.
What did you just say?
Can you not?
No, we can hear you. It's okay. That's all right, bro. It's all good.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
Okay. Give me one check.
Dude, what is...
I'm never going live ever again. I'm never going live ever again. I wanted to like get off he left. Oh my God, bro. All right, if you're MAGA, let me know in the chat. How long
have you been on?
2 hours and 15. I went to go ride the Peloton like 30 minutes ago, but then Chris joined.
Oh, I actually, yeah, I should probably like hop off soon. I can't believe it's already 1. I was gonna go live on Twitch, but I also wanted to like go work out.
Yo, Brock, thank you for the $5. As a guy that is an SA survivor, I appreciate the work you and Chris do to help spread awareness on these issues, along with spreading the truth about politics. Thank you. Well, thank you, Brock, for the $5. Thank you for sharing that story, man. We try.
Appreciate you. Proud of you, Brock. Proud of you, man.
Yeah, man. Seriously. Yo, Nora, thank you for the $25 as well. Harry, marry me and I'll cook you Mexican food every day while Chris is being fed chicken nuggets every day.
All right,
sounds like a bargain. Sounds like a bargain. By the way, Chris has like the most.
Dude, what is going on?
Chris has like the most basic palate. You take him out to a restaurant. He goes kids menu. I say, Chris, please. We're at like a steak place. Can you just get something?
This is just strange now. I don't know what I'm taking part in.
So I appreciate that, Nora. Thank you. Molly, thank you for the $2.
That sounds like Harry. That sounds like a thruple. It's an inside joke. No one else would understand it. But
I don't even understand it. Molly,
you don't understand it? You don't know anyone in a thruple?
When you run for office, I'll be your friend.
Come on, bro.
When you're office, I'll run for office with your first lady. Molly, I appreciate you. You're too kind. I hope you know that. You're too kind. All right, Ethan, come on, man.
Guys, there's nothing wrong with being in a thruple.
How are you?
We're good, man. You vote for Trump?
I did.
What a terrible decision. All right, why?
I knew you were going to say it. A multitude of reasons.
Wow, we got a real fucking scholar in here. He knew you.
I mean, it's a multitude of reasons. I know you're going to have your debate points. I know you're much more educated on some of these topics than me. But the biggest thing for me is the 10 million illegal immigrants. I'm Catholic, so I believe life begins at conception. So I'm not pro-choice. I'm pro-life. So that's an important thing for me. I know you're going to disagree with that. And I like the way Trump handles world peace and the way he goes about talking to world leaders. But
So where do you want to start? You get to pick. I'll let you choose.
Me or you?
You. Where would you like to start of the three things you just mentioned? The world leaders, the
Let's
immigration,
talk, let's talk about abortion first.
Okay. So when you say I just want to be 100% clear that we're on the same kind of level. When you say you're pro-life, I understand that you're pro-life for yourself and this is what you believe, but are you also saying that you want legislation nationally that bans a woman from getting an abortion?
No.
So then you're pro-choice.
I think there should be exceptions.
Okay, but do you want policy that bans women from getting an elective abortion, meaning that they were not assaulted, they don't have any health consequences? Do you think a woman should not be able to get that? Or at least do you support legislation passing Congress and on a national level that would ban it?
I mean, I don't think there should be a federal abortion ban. So I guess, I mean, wouldn't label that as pro-choice because I think there should be abortion. I mean, there should be exceptions for rape and
yeah, but I'm saying not the exceptions. Just like if a woman gets pregnant after a mistake with her boyfriend, for example, contraception didn't work. Do you think that that woman should be able to get an abortion? Would you support legislation banning that woman from getting an abortion?
I think they should not be allowed to have an abortion. Correct.
Okay, so I'm just making sure we're on the same level. So and then why do you? So I understand that you as a Christian, or you say Catholic. I understand that you as a Catholic are pro-life for yourself, but why does that extend to other women?
That's my religious beliefs. I believe that's what God intended. So that's just how I believe it. I think like intercourse is between a man and a woman for the purposes of producing life. So I think if you said a contraception failed, I believe that should be known ahead of time. Like I said, there should be, if there's something horrible like rape or something that happens, that I don't think a woman should be forced to carry a child for that. But if contraception fails, then I think they should be forced to have the baby. Yes.
But it's simply because of your religious beliefs that you believe that?
I mean, it's a big reason for it. Correct.
Well, I think Jaden's here. I'm sorry. I just saw a message now that he's here.
So part of the problem with that is like practicality, right? So again, like in what?
No, I'm trying to find Jaden. Sorry.
Yeah, part of the problem with that is like practicality, right? So in the United States, like we have the highest maternal mortality rate in the developed world. We're like 55th according to the CDC, and then like states with complete and total abortion bans are close to it. Those numbers are like a lot worse. We see Texas had an increase of their maternal mortality rate increased 56% from 2019 to 2022 compared to 11% nationally. The maternal mortality being any woman who dies while pregnant, while giving birth, or about within 42 days after birth. A lot of the reason those maternal mortality rates are so bad and getting so much worse in Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia is because, with states with complete and total abortion bans, you have healthcare providers that are leaving the state because they're under too much pressure. They risk, felonies for doing their job. So I live in Georgia. Half our counties don't have OBGYNs. A lot of women don't have basic access to providers. And, furthermore, again, like in this idea of I support abortion with exceptions, like that doesn't play out, right? You have a 7th grade girl in Mississippi who was assaulted in her own backyard and forced to carry a baby to term. Mississippi has exceptions. How you go about getting those exceptions, nobody knows. There's not even abortion providers in Mississippi, so it's not like the exception matters. The nearest abortion clinic was Chicago. And then, again, you just like in the general problem of even if you do apply for an exception of like government overreach. In Texas, Kate Cox applied for an exception, was approved by a federal judge, which is just absurd that you would even have to do that, but whatever. And then, the attorney general stepped in and said you shouldn't be allowed to do that. And there's so many tragic stories of women who are pregnant who can't get an abortion when they should be able to get one and they die. So even if that may be your personal opinion, from like a pragmatic standpoint of how we operate as a country, it's clearly not working considering like women's health care in America is like significantly worse than the rest of the developed world.
No, I 100% understand what you're saying, and I mean it is a good argument, and it's just my beliefs, and I agree with you because as you said in Georgia, I know Atlanta is a big reason for it it's getting close to becoming Democrat like it did in 2020. But what do you think a way to change that is, where you said there are states with exceptions and then women are still dying? How do we go about that? Do you think it should just be completely legal? I know that's not really a debate. That's just me asking for your personal opinion.
Yeah, sure. So like obviously like just from like a backing up, even like the maternal mortality rate was still like not acceptable even when Roe v. Wade was enacted because of like the government's inability, especially to like care for a lot of women in like rural areas, especially like rural impoverished areas. So like number one, I think like you have to reinstate Roe v. Wade. You need like the federal government to essentially say, like in Georgia, before it was 6 weeks, for us it was 22 weeks, right? And so like abortion, doctors need to be able to feel confident enough to do their jobs. Like, well, the key problem with healthcare right now is like, doctors say, Amber Thurman, for example, like, she goes to North Carolina to take a legal abortion pills, comes back to the state of Georgia, has a complication. She has sepsis. She shows up to a hospital. She's 28-year-old healthy with a kid. And she needs a DNC. It's a 15-minute, essentially surgery. They don't even have to put her under, very basic routine all the time, to clear out the fetal matter that's left over from the abortion that, it had a complication. They waited 19 hours and Amber Thurman ended up dying. They probably waited 19 hours because they were talking to attorneys about the very confusing and vague laws in Georgia around abortion and if they could be facing a felony up to 10 years in prison. That happens all the time in all of these states, and doctors are unwilling to work under that type of pressure. That's absurd. So they get up and they leave and they go to states that like have a constitutional right to an abortion. So you need to be able to give private companies and doctors the ability to do their job in these states. And that means, so you need to be able to give private companies and doctors the ability to do.
You got to swipe out at TikTok. There's an echo.
There's the ability.
No, you got to, Ethan. You got to swipe up out of the app, my man. You got to swipe up and come back. There's an echo.
No, you have an echo.
Oh Jesus! Sorry, guys. I'm fucking yapping here. Yeah. So really quick. So the healthcare providers are unwilling to do their job. The federal government needs to be able to protect just abortion and not let states write these like crazy laws around that. Like, I think that the answer is that abortion needs to be more accessible, and then the government needs to spend a fuckload of money. I'm a liberal. I think the federal government should be like much larger, and then we should force a lot of these states to have like just much better healthcare in general.
Can I ask you something, Ethan?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to know where this moral incentive for you lies. Like, does your religion state that abortion should be left up to the states?
In the Catholic religion, it should be completely outlawed, is what they believe.
Okay, completely outlawed. This does the exact inverse of that policy. In fact, more people have died, more abortions have occurred nationally, more infant mortality as a result. As a fact, quantifiably, there are more deaths since sending it back to the states. Wouldn't that seem reason enough as to that policy being worse if more babies, if more abortion is occurring and more women are dying now?
I mean, it is a good point when you say it like that. But my argument, not really an argument, my thing would be like just the not voluntary, but the purposeful way of killing a child. And I understand that's what it's a tricky subject. It really is. That's why I would like more clarity from the church. But a lot of it is my moral beliefs too about just purposely killing a child. But I understand.
Then what is the workaround this? Because now more of them. I just want to understand what the workaround is, because now more of them have died. As a result, abortion nationwide is up 11% over what it was 4 years ago. And the number of abortion has not declined. More women have died. More infants have died as a result of congenital defects that otherwise should have been aborted because they wouldn't have survived. How does one weigh this as a morally positive solution in sending it back to the states?
I mean, it's I don't really know. That's why I asked.
Well, why do you support it then?
Because to me, morally, I don't think it's a good idea to have a
right. But in cutting that off, more have died.
I think.
But in cutting that off and sending it back to the states, more have died.
Yeah, I mean, how
is that not worse though? Is that not more morally detrimental than the alternative?
It is probably yes.
Okay.
But that's
how do you stand by that? How does one justify that? Just
I don't know
to put this into perspective, just a little history lesson here. Abortion per capita was higher prior to Roe v. Wade's signing in 1973. And every year after that, per capita, adjusted for our population size, abortion has gone down. Since the repeal of Roe v. Wade, abortion has gone up 11 to 12%. nationwide, there are more abortions happening. There is more infant mortality, more maternal mortality. I think it's easy enough, as the numbers would show, that keeping Roe v. Wade in place kept more people alive and kept abortion rates down.
Mm-hmm. Well, then why would you? I know this for sure. The fertility rate is down. Like the amount of people having children is severely down. And a pro-abortion. I feel like this.
There's multiple reasons for that, and we can get into that. But
I know that's not completely related to abortion.
It's not. It is mainly a class issue. It is inherently more expensive to raise a child now than it was 50, 60 years ago.
Correct.
But if your idea of a morally upright society is forcing people, and I hate to use that word, but that's what it is, forcing people who are unprepared, who are ill-equipped, who are not knowledgeable, and lack the finances to bring a child into this world, what standard of living can we expect out of that?
But again, it goes back to what I believe, that sex should be left up. It's for the purpose of life, and that's what I believe.
But you don't believe that, though. You said that even if one took proper precautions, they should be burdened with the pregnancy they didn't ask for.
Well, in the Catholic Church, using contraceptions, it's not allowed.
So everyone shouldn't use contraception, but you don't want them to have abortion? I'm confused here, because you don't want unplanned pregnancies resulting in abortion, yet your policy would entail such a thing. Your belief system, I should say, would entail such a thing.
I don't understand what you're saying. I feel
you're saying no contraception, meaning that every instance that one may be engaging in sex has the higher likelihood of an unplanned pregnancy, yet you don't want to abort that.
The purpose of it is for life. So why would you, if you're having sex?
No. So wait, I assume you've had plenty of sex, right?
I have not, no.
You've not? Are you a virgin?
Yes.
Okay. You know somebody that has sex, right? Or your parents have sex, probably, have had sex. Yes. Why is it that in every instance that didn't result in a child or pregnancy? It's almost as though sex is subjective, and that we assign meanings of it based on whomever we're with. Some may be wanting to reproduce, others not so much. There's psychological reasons, there's social reasons. There's a multitude of reasons why people have sex. I don't think it's fair to say that the one reason people have sex is to reproduce. That is a reason, but how can one make such a sweeping claim that that is the sole purpose?
That's why Catholics believe that it should be left up until after marriage.
That doesn't really do Catholics believe that all forms of sex should be for reproduction?
Yes.
Why?
Because that's what it's a sacred sacrament. That is the purpose of it.
Says who?
Jesus Christ.
So even in marital examples here, it should only be done for reproduction.
Correct, yes.
I don't really see why that serves any benefit.
That's what I believe, and that's what the Catholic Church believes. I mean, that's
why
not
does
really
it
up
believe
for
that?
debate.
Why does it believe that?
I can't tell you. That's what I believe, and that's just my moral beliefs, and that's the Catholic Church's moral beliefs.
The morals are backwards, are they not?
I don't believe so.
You've conceded that more people have died, more people have suffered, and more unplanned pregnancies would be a result of this belief system, and yet you don't see how that is at odds with your idea of caring for people, of bringing in a society of people who are ready to have children?
I do think there is a social issue, which is also a different debate. It doesn't have to do with that. I mean, I think the way we live, I think there's a moral issue with just hookups and things like that. I believe that's a deeper issue, and I believe, like you said, an unplanned pregnancy.
I understand you feel that way, but why is it not an equally morally detrimental? Why is it not an equally morally detrimental issue to put children into this world with parents who may or may not love them, may or may not be able to fund their lives or be attentive to them? Is that not like a worse option?
I think any child should have the opportunity to live. I don't think we should just kill children just because the parents are. I think that's why
we're not killing children. We are ending pregnancies.
Yeah.
Fetus is not a child.
I believe it is.
It's not. I mean, what distinct features does a fetus have that a child does on the outside world? Do they share any of the same characteristics? I would argue that they don't.
Obviously, a fetus can't live. But I mean, what does a fetus turn into? Like
sentient life, but it's not there yet. So I would put preference over sentient life over non-sentient life. If any instance where I had to save a child versus a frozen embryo, I'm picking the child. Every instance of that, and you would too, because a fetus is not a baby. A fetus is not a child. It may be one, but in its current state, it's not. And I don't believe that moral a priority should be assigned to non-sentient life.
I mean, that's just where we disagree, and I'm sorry, we're not going to come to an agreement with it. You believe with that, and you are right. A fetus is.
I mean, I have reasons why, able to live scientifically, morally, legally, as to why I should not be assigning legal status and protections towards non-sentient life.
Because it's eventually going to become life.
We don't know that.
How would a fetus not become a child eventually?
A multitude of instances that could prevent that pregnancy to carrying to term.
But like, eventually,
but yes. in its current capacity, it is not sentient life, and I should not assign moral value to that non-sentient life over the sentient life, which is the outside world, which is the mother, which is the person carrying.
That's why I've spoke to Chris about this earlier. If the mother's life is in danger, if a mother was endangered and did not voluntarily choose to engage in sexual intercourse, then I think that is a discussion that should be had. But again, and I know it's a tricky subject with states outlawing it and federal law, but I know we're not going to agree, and that's what I believe.
Well, you haven't made an argument to convince me.
I mean, I'm not going to be able to convince you. There's just no way.
You certainly could if your argument was sound.
I don't think I could.
Killer Kicks, do you want up?
Say it again.
Is Killer Kicks in the box people are asking for?
Killer Kicks?
Not you.
Oh.
We can bring her up, but this is going to be my last. I know this is going to really disappoint people, but this is my last debate of the night.
While this happens, I am actually going to jump myself because it's 1:15. I do want to go live.
I'll go live. Damn it! These losers here
calling
me.
We go to Jaden's live then, or Chris is live on Twitch.
Harry, we gotta play COD. Text me, guys. I'm going to go live on Twitch. I love all of you. You guys are all the best. Thank you for all the support. It means the absolute world. You guys are all amazing.
All right, so everybody, Chris is going live on Twitch. Jaden, are you going live on TikTok?
I'll go live on TikTok. Yeah.
All right, Jaden's going live on TikTok, everybody. You should go, if you want more debates, you should go follow. I don't even, Jaden, do you get banned or something? Is this a different account?
This is my third account now.
Okay. Well, I follow, anyway, Jaden's going to go live on TikTok, but I have to leave now. So, sorry, everybody.
Take care. Thanks for letting me up.
No problem, Jaden. Thanks coming up, man. And Ethan as well. Thanks for coming up, buddy. Sorry, man.
Thanks,
have a good one, all right?
No, you have a good one, too.
Thanks, man. All right, everybody. Let me. I apologize. I know. Let me read some of these messages first. Janine, thank you for the $15. Thank you for what you do. I know it can be exhausting, but please know that it does change minds and you do make a difference. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, that means a lot. Jennifer, thank you for the $5. Harry, can you explain the bracelets that you always hold? Yeah, so these love sentimental objects. They're not, maybe they're not like sentimental. I don't know. I guess they are sentimental. These are like friendship bracelets that I wear. One of them says, "When we fight, we win." This one, the blue and red one. This one says, "Emerge." They were given to me by folks at the DNC when I was there at the DNC in Chicago. So I wear them pretty regularly. If you see me out, you'll see I probably have these on. So yeah, there you go. Leah, thank you for the $5. Hearing you and Chris giving articulate information is very mind-blowing. I really hope you four smart keeters in history books for future generations to learn from at 2024. Leah, thank you for the $4. The $5. I appreciate that. It means a lot you being here. Luca says, tell Chris I want him. Thank you. Well, I don't know if he's still here, but I will deliver the message. I appreciate that. Ashley, thank you for the $1. Thanks for everything you do. Also, Jaden is asking to come up in the box. We got him. I appreciate the $1. Jack and Piper's mom, I'm a great cook. I cook all the time. You and Chris are always welcome to have my house, even when I'm not there. I'll leave the keys in the garage. There's plenty of food in my house all the time and plenty of drinks. Very kind, Jack and Piper's mom. I appreciate the $10. Thank you. Katie, thank you for the $1. My situation, my daughter's a prime example that they're not pro-life, they're pro-birth. My daughter suffered her whole life just to get to see a specialist 6 hours away. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, I don't know. It's, oh God, it's so tragic, man. Exactly. I totally agree. They're not pro-life. They're pro-birth. They're pro-forced birth. You know what I mean? Grace, thanks for the 10 cents. You told me to come up long ago. I've not been invited despite my request. Don't let Republicans fend for themselves. Grace, you can come up tomorrow night. All right. Sound good? We'll make that happen. Angie, thanks for the $1. Are you single? Don't say this next part on live. I got you, Angie. I appreciate that. Sujiti, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. $10. Hi, Harry. Thanks for always going live. I enjoy listening to you and watching you debate when I get home from work. P.S. Just call me Sue. Well, there you go. Sue, here's a pronunciation of my name if you want to try saying it. Suhaidi. Got it. Suhaidi. There you go. Suhaidi. I appreciate it. Thank you, Suhaidi. And Harry, thanks for the $2. Can't wait to see your presidential debate with Miss MAGA Molly in 2040. Now that will be crazy. Sydney, thanks for the $1. Do you plan to set up a P.O. box? Maybe. Allison, thanks for the $1. Please start a podcast. Thanks for everything that you do. Chris and I have talked about reviving our podcast, so maybe. Jay, thanks for the $1. Ariana, thanks for the $1. Are you a Swiftie? I don't mind a Taylor Swift song. Essence, thanks for the $5. Are you in a throuple? No, I would never be in a throuple personally. But he was making a joke. And Angelica, for ignoring, I'm not ignoring you, Angelica. I appreciate you. You know that. All right, everybody. Listen, that's everybody's message. I appreciate you guys being here in the live. So this was a little bit of a chaotic one. But I appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for following, liking, all that good stuff, donating. If you were one of those people, it means a lot. Make sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time. Also add me on Snapchat, link in bio, and my Twitter, my Instagram, my YouTube, my TikTok, and my Facebook, which I know I have a Facebook account, are all in the link in my bio. Is that it? Yeah, self-promo enough. I'm going to go ride the Peloton and lift now, but Jaden is doing TikTok live debates, Mr. Jaden, and Christy Mowry is on Twitch. If you want to go say hi to them. Add Snap pay-per-view. That's funny. And Blue Sky. I'm also on Blue Sky. My Blue Sky @ is real Harry J. Sisson. The Harry J. Sisson, somebody took it from me. So on Blue Sky, I'm @ real Harry J. Sisson. All right, everybody. That's Jaden's username. That's Chris's username. Have a great day tomorrow, guys. Enjoy your Sunday. Watch some football. Do your thing. And yeah. All right, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Be well. We'll talk soon. All right. Snapchat. All of my usernames are the same as my TikTok username. So if you want to find me on any platform, it's Harry J. Sisson, except Blue Sky, where it's @ real Harry J. Sisson. All right, everybody. I appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great day tomorrow. We'll talk soon. All right, everybody. See you later.